Welcome to Cablevision's coverage of the Nassau County Class A Championship. Today, the #1 ranked team in New York State, the Farmingdale Dalers, take on the once-beaten Vikings of Fort Washington. Hello again, everybody. I'm Barry Landers, along with Kerry Gluck and Bob Rule, the assistant coach of Manhasset High School. And Bob, as we look at this game, of course, Farmingdale comes in the big favorite, #1 in the state. They beat Fort Washington 13-1. First time they played. Can Fort Washington make it a close game and pull off an upset?
Well, the score might have been a little misleading that first game, the 13-1 score. Actually, in the first quarter, Washington played it pretty tough. Actually outplayed them, but Tufano did not played an outstanding game that first quarter and really sealed it off and kind of depressed Fort Washington.
Well, you can see Fort Washington is a club that hasn't scored a whole lot of goals this year. They're averaging 9, giving up 7. They're a club that's loaded offensively, and one of the guys to keep an eye on, of course, is one of their midfielders by the name of Brian Birch.
Well, Brian Birch is going to be the key player today. He is their face-off man. He's called Mr. Clear, which means he'll carry the ball up a lot on the clears. 75% face-off average. And in the Farmingdale game, he won 7 of 12. He's got to control the face-off today for Washington to really have a chance.
All right, for the Farmingdale Dalers, Kerry, well, they're just loaded. Bob Hartgrave says this is the best team that he's ever had.
Well, he's got experience all over, from up top to the back. He's got 5 out of his 6 players have been playing for 3 years or more on the varsity. He's got depth at every position. He's looking forward to this year.
Well, they've got an outstanding attack. You look at the midfield, they've got a great one. He'll be facing off Brian Baxo.
Well, Brian Baxo is one of a great number of good offensive players, but he does everything for Farmingdale. He's big. He runs like a horse. He'll run over you. He shoots hard. He faces off. Faces off at 78%. He really is the key man on the offense. He'll set everything up for the other Dalers.
All right, so the stage is set for tonight's Class A showdown. Defending champion Farmingdale against the 1990 champion Fort Washington. You're watching Cablevision's LISN.
To my left, Ken Case, the coach at Fort Washington, is to my right. And Ken, let's face it, the bottom line was they did a job on you in the regular season. What do you do tonight for the Nassau County Class A title?
Well, we try to play a little bit better, and we're going to see what happens.
What can you turn around in a game in which you lost 13-1 in the regular season?
Well, I think our man up was pretty poor. Man down was pretty poor. So those two things we've concentrated on, and hopefully it'll all pay off.
Going to be more of a possession-type ball club tonight?
We're going to try and control the ball. Certainly, we don't want to get in a run and gun with them. Their sticks are too good. And we'll try and control the ball. We're not going to slow it down, but we'll try and control it, take a look for the layup.
Look for the layup, Ken. Good luck in tonight's game.
Thanks.
All right, that was Kenny Case. Turn around to Bob Hartenraft. And Bob, is there pressure on your club? You are heavily favored to repeat here tonight.
Well, I don't know if there's any pressure on us. I mean, we've had that pressure all year, and the kids have responded well, so I don't see anything different tonight.
What about from your approach right now? You beat them 13-1. The kids know that. You just can't throw your sticks out here and expect to win tonight.
No, but everything's on the line here tonight. So, I mean, if you don't come ready to play here at Hofstra in the county finals, you don't deserve to be here.
All right, let me ask you, a little mind game with Fort Washington before the start of tonight. They came out here. You had your bench here, which you've had for many years. Fort came out and kind of took over there, laid down their equipment. You came out. Your team dropped all their equipment there. What was that all about?
Well, I don't know if that was a mistake or if they did it on purpose, but it didn't make any difference. We're ready to play. They're ready to play, and we'll see what happens.
A little golf game maybe after the season? You keep ribbing me about that.
Absolutely. If you keep your promise, you owe me a putter. And also, as I said, I want your job, and you can come teach my class, and I'll do the Cablevision 12 Sports one day.
Well, you can do that. Okay, Bob, that's you've got yourself a little deal there. Good luck in tonight's game.
Okay, thanks, Carl.
All right, Bob Hartenraft of Farmingdale, Ken Case of Fort Washington. Nassau County Class A title is on the line, and it's up next on Cablevision's Long Island Sports Network.
By Adelphi University, a commitment to intellect. By Ullman Sports International, the ultimate lacrosse supplier. And by the Bosse's Tech Centers, the power to succeed. Barry Landers, along with Kerry Gluck, Bob Rule, and Carl Reuter at Hofstra as we get ready for this Class A showdown. Farmingdale 17-0, Fort Washington 15-1. And about that Fort Washington attack and midfield, they've got some good ones.
Well, they've got 4 all-county players: Henry Stanziel and Tim Langdon, Kevin Schmoody, and Brian Birch.
And defensively, Tim Brown is the guy that they'll go to. He's new to the game, and it's a defense that's been remolded. They've had some injuries. And boy, John Peixoto really going to have a hands full. For Farmingdale, the attack, of course, excellent, led by Ime and the great one, Jeff Ryzanek. Midfield carry, they're real good. All three of them can score and run like the wind. And the defense, certainly very, very good, led by Kurt Blairgrove and Todd Carney.
And very stingy, Barry, only giving up 2.4 goals a game.
And you talk about goalies, Anthony Tufano, who was brilliant last year as a sophomore, has come back and had even a better year as a junior.
Buddy Krummenacher says he could be the best goalie they've ever had.
Baxo wins the faceoff. Zucchelli, 18, will pick it up. Here's DeRufo moving right in. And he'll fire it wide. They had a backer there, and it'll be Farmingdale ball. Farmingdale, a high-scoring team. They average 12 a game, give up only 2.4. They've got great sticks.
Well, I noticed then they've got to be they can't be selfish when they play. And that time he really had a man wide open, didn't throw it to him.
We'll set the attack for you. Ime is 12. He'll play 90% of the time behind the cage. Russ Lakey is the crease attackman, number 17. Number 99 is Jeff Ryzanek. What a season he had last year, and what a final game in the Long Island Championship against Ward Melville. He was the MVP, the brilliant little Jeff Ryzanek. In the midfield, number 42 is Brian Baxo with 29 goals. Peter DeRufo with 29. Ed Zucchelli with 26. Kerry, you can't key on one of these guys. Any one of these guys. His backside shot is stopped by Peixoto. Good hit behind the cage that time. Marquez after it, and now the goalie will play it, Peixoto. And he'll outlet on the near side as they'll try to bring it up. Number 34, John Bardat. A dangerous crossfield pass, but he got it there to his teammate. And they'll bring it down now. Port Washington on the attack, but they throw it away, and that's something they could not afford to do. They've got to be patient, Gary. That's something Bob was talking to him in the open.
Absolutely. That was an excellent clear that was imposed by Port Washington there. They had the opportunity to come down, set up their offense, and get themselves going for the first time with the ball offensively. And they really could establish themselves and establish the offense instead of throwing the ball away.
What I like, too, is DeShoto made a nice save. That really starts building your confidence as a goaltender.
The young goalie, Tufano, the all-county performer, to Jeff Ryzanek. Great legs. He'll clear it easily. Gets it to Baxo. Baxo sweeping left. Now coming back to the right. Coming in. Had a check. Loose ball. Marquez, 16, going after it. And we'll get a whistle. Our officials working today's game. Referee Tim Murray. Umpire Tommy Beck, along with Dan Buckley. And the box official is Jimmy Howe. How about the call here, Kerry? Did you see it?
The possession is going to be turned over. It's going to go back over to Port Washington. It was a loose ball push, and it was a real good call. Again, I think that Brian Ime forced himself onto the cage that time. He didn't have anywhere to go. He should have just pulled it out and instead just created a turnover.
Brian Birch, he too called missed it clear because he's got great legs. Did a great job against Oceanside. Brings it across. They'll set it up to Kevin Schmude. We saw Schmude burn Massapequa for 6 goals, Kerry. Number 12 on attack, and this is Stanziali. Stanziali beating Carney, gets in, and scores! And also a flag on the play. Henry Stanziali from the left wing taking Todd Carney, the big 6'2", 215-pound defender, beating him, and then with a well-placed shot, gives Port Washington a 1-0 lead.
Great move by Stanziali. I like his speed. I like the way he went to the cage. Real strong there. His 5'7", going up against the 6'2" Carney. He established himself early. Here we'll see it again on the replay. Here he has the ball. Stanziali, he opens up wide. They go one-on-one. They opened it up for him, took away the backup, and he just took Carney. And he made the little hoop right there, puts it in up high off the stick side.
Now, no, the key was the defenseman played Stanziali behind the goal or Langdon behind the goal and didn't come up to help out. They can't play a guy behind the goal because it takes away from the backer. 27th goal for the all-county youngster. Was an all-county as a sophomore and again as a junior. And he was shut out, completely shut out the first time they played. In fact, the only goal scored by Port Washington, Kerry, came in the final minute of play. Tufano had a shutout, 13-0 until the final minute of play. So now Port Washington, emotionally, what they wanted was to get the lead. They have it now, but here's Farmingdale offensively moving in. The look for Baxo, he couldn't get it. And that ball battled for behind the cage there. Peixoto coming out and battling for it, and the ball will still be Farmingdale. Well, I think that Farmingdale's a little too anxious to get on the scoreboard, and they're not really playing their offense. They've got to be a little more patient and move the ball around a little bit better. The other thing I like is that Washington could play a game today like they've got nothing to lose. I mean, they go out, they're going to be more relaxed, they'll do the best they can, and I think that's going to help them out.
Well, I was going to also add to that, Bobby, you're right. Port's playing with no pressure at all. No one expects them to win this game. The pressure is on Farmingdale. They're the undefeated #1 team in the state. And I like the fact that Port Washington has established themselves early.
Right.
They're not taking anything from Farmingdale. They're laying hits on this Farmingdale-Dallas team, and they want the respect right now of Farmingdale.
Well, Bob Rule, as your Manhasset team well knows, Anthony Tufano, a great goalie, under 2, has already given up 1. Anytime you beat a team badly the first time, as you did, against a very fine Lynbrook team, the Nassau County B champs, and then they've got revenge on their minds. They came back and beat you the second time.
Yeah, and don't forget that first period where they really outplayed them. I'm sure that Kenny Case was emphasizing the fact that the first game wasn't as bad as it seemed.
Well, right now they'll look to clear here. Port Washington with possession. Danny Marcus, new to the defense, and has done an excellent job. He's got a good stick, junior, number 28. They'll use Birch to clear. He is just amazing in clearing carries. We watched the other night. He was outstanding in their victory over Oceanside, 6-4. This is Timmy Langton, the all-county player, who will be going to Towson next year. 37 goals, 62 points. Langton had the only goal the first time these clubs played. Langton taking Carney this time again. Carney rides him well. And Langton wisely will bring it out. This is what they want to be more patient. We were talking to Kenny Casey. Said, we can't make the home run play every time. We've got to look for the smart pass to maintain ball control.
Absolutely, and if they continue for this kind of patience and work for good shots, I think they're going to stay in this ballgame.
Very smart move. They doubled quickly on the ball. Farmingdale did, and the guy dished it off real quick for a good shot.
You see how far Tufano came offline. Let's watch the save here on the shot taken by Kevin Schmoody.
There's that double with, and then the triple, and then you saw how quickly they got the ball taken. The shot taken.
Pashota getting it laid off by Schmoody.
And the other thing to remember is Tufano's a lefty. That was a good shot against the right-hand goalie, but not as good a shot against the left-handed goaltender.
And often, you know, Bob, certainly that many offensive players are not accustomed to shooting against the left-handed goalie, and that's normally the off-stick side, and they've got to concentrate on that to make sure they're putting it on this off-stick side.
Stanziali against Carney. Gets it back. Again, Caban lays it off. Good work. Smart play. Jeff Cohn, number 20, in the ball game right now to second midfield. Here is Stanziali. Oh, and it just deflects wide. It'll still be Port Washington ball, but Stanziali, who had stitches in his leg last week, did not play a very effective game in their victory last week against Oceanside. Had about 10 stitches in his leg. Looks like he's got his legs tonight.
Well, he took that one against the cage, but he took a hit there also right now, and I think the Farmingdale defense is going to get a little bit more aggressive if Stanziali looks to keep going one-on-one. That doubling man is going to lay in.
5'7", 160, Stanziali. This is Langton, much bigger, 6'3", 180. He's what you like to see in those premier Division I attackmen, Bob.
Well, Stanziali, too. I was going back to Stanziali. He's got something to prove. He was shut out in that first game, and he's an all-county attackman, so he's got to have some skills. He's got to have some pride.
This is Timmy Caban, fine football player. Throws it away. He was trying to get it to his teammate Kevin Schmoody, but he overthrew him, and they'll turn the ball over here.
The one thing, too, Stanziali and Langdon have to do, and what they're doing so well, is keep forcing coming around the goal, and eventually the referee's going to start calling holes on the defenseman. His defense will get a little anxious. I thought a couple of those were pretty close to holes when Stanziali came around.
Well, Farmingdale has a very big defense. Todd Carney, 6'2", 215. John Bardock, 6'2", 215. Kurt Blagrove, 6', 175. Big boys.
And because they're big, they might not be quite as mobile as a smaller, quicker defenseman.
DeRupo will bring it across. He's got great legs. DeRupo chased by Marquez. Delayed penalty coming up, and it'll be against Port Washington, I believe. No, let's count the numbers up.
Yes, it's going to be offsides against Port by, I would think.
No, I think it's Farmingdale. I think they have, well, let's check it. It's Port. It is Port. Well, they had possession. I don't know why they blew the whistle there, because Farmingdale would have had the advantage there.
Now, they have stopped 20 straight extra men.
They have killed 20 in a row.
20 in a row in the last 9 in the playoffs.
Carey, earlier in the year when we did the game against Massapequa, they're only around 50%. And since that time, they've killed 20 in a row, and that's one reason why they've only given up 9 goals in the last 3 games.
Well, this is going to be very important for them to be able to kill these penalties against Farmingdale with their shooters.
Sue Kelly with that last shot. Pashota looking sharp, knocking it down, covering up that rebound, Bob.
The nice thing, though, Pashota was a long shot. They had plenty of time to look for it. There was no screen on it. Again, it was not a really good shot selection on a man-up situation.
Sue Kelly with 26 goals. He had a great game against Fort Melvin, the Long Island Championship. As a junior last year, had 3 goals. swing it, Ryzanek, back to Zucchelli, the lefty, and this time he makes no mistake going up high against the short goalie, John Pichot at 5'9", and he beat him up high.
Well, that was a nice lefty shot taken by Zucchelli. He's one of the 3-year starters, and he started at the attack in '91. He was converted to a midfielder, and he really has a hard lefty shot, and he's really can do it all.
He started the season on attack. He and Russ Lakey switched positions, and it's been a boon to the team. Zucchelli did very little earlier in the year on attack. Lakey the same thing, very little in midfield earlier in the year.
Zucchelli just wound up and took that shot high on this off-stick side.
It was a rising shot, a sidearm. That's the kind of shot you like as a coach, but nevertheless, if it goes in, it's great. It was a sidearm shot rising, which is very difficult for goaltender to see and stop.
You see the score, and the ball will now go over to Farmingdale on the violation. Zucchelli, by the way, going to Johns Hopkins. He's a fine soccer player as well as a lacrosse player. And according to Bob Hartranft, he said moving him to midfield was like taking a horse and letting him into the pasture.
And he has all that room to roam.
He has great legs, and you saw a great shot there. Hine swings it back up top. Baxo with a crank shot. Farmingdale will retain possession with 4:17 to go. If you'll recall the other night against Hicksville, actually last week, they got off to a slow start in that Hicksville game, wound up winning 13-3, but Hicksville played a great first half against them. DeRupo checked as he tried to force it into the traffic. And Marquez, number 16, the football player, comes up with it. He's got great legs. He'll bring it across. But again, an errant pass. Picked up, however, by Pichota. Or check it by Schmuti. That ground ball, however, taken back by Zucchelli. To Baxo. They've got the fast break going with Baxo leading. Right into the stick there.
Now, he took that shot sidearm, and it's not the best shot to take, and he had the overhand bounce shot all day long, and he looked to take it the sidearm.
Scott Melvin brought it across, and here's Stanziali working against Carney. Now doubled up by DeRupo. Had his stick knocked out of his hand. Excellent defensive play by Farmingdale. Lost the ball, Stanziali, and the Dalers get it back, Harry.
But you know what Stanziali did is that he ran into the double. There was no need to take the ball into the double there. He could have pulled the ball out, set up the offense, and been a little bit more patient. That's what they don't want to do, is get into that running game with Farmingdale.
Well, it might be that Stanziali's first goal was a bad thing for them, and in effect it established some sort of pattern that's not going to really happen, where he's going to be allowed to go around and score standing up.
Mike Townsend hit by Eric Vanix. Townsend on in the second midfield. You remember he had a tremendous season last year as a long pole defensive midi, and he's playing offensive midi on a second unit. Langton hit by a couple of guys on the far side. Let's see what the call will be. I think we have a timeout by Port Washington. So Port Washington doing what they wanted to do. It's a low score right now. It's 1-1, 3:02 to go, and Kenny Case has to be pleased to carry the way his club has played so far. As we take a look at the road to the top for East Meadow, a 9-4 victory for Port Washington, and then a real tight game. It was 4-4 until Schmuti scored to open up a 5-4 lead in the fourth quarter, and Port Washington playing good defense the last couple of games.
And they're doing a good job today, Barry. The only thing I would say right now is that they've got to get, again, a little bit more patient, slow it down a little bit, get on the offense and work their ball a little bit, and get the 6 players in rather than going all this one-on-one stuff early on. I think that's what Kenny Case would like to see them do at the moment.
And Farmingdale's road to the top, blowout over Syosset, and a big win over Hicksville, 13-3. So this club could score, and they're very explosive. They can score right off the 3 or 4 goals in a short period of time.
Well, I think that's what Port Washington really has to watch out for. But the longer the game stays this way, the longer the pace is slow, the more it's going to help Port Washington. If they can keep this kind of pace where you're getting Farmingdale out of their transition game, out of taking it down and taking a lot of shots, and the more shots they take on to Schroeder where he makes those saves, to build his level of confidence, they might get frustrated.
Let's go down to Carl Reuter on the field.
Barry, I was talking to Bob Hartranft before the game. I said, Bob, where did you get the new shirts for tonight's game? He said they were the idea of Coach Buddy Krummenacher. He said it's the Jerry Glanville look. Jerry, of course, being the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons in the National Football League. And contrary to reports, Bob Hartranft has not left any tickets at the press gate for Elvis Presley.
All right, Carl. Priscilla, where are you? All right, let's get back to the action here. Right now, Port Washington with possession in a 1-1 game. Stanziali scoring early to give him a 1-0 lead. This is Langton, 24, working with Stanziali, 22, and Jim Peixoto, 14 on the attack. Langton getting in. Knocked down in front, loose ball. And it'll go by Brian Birch. He'll hustle back to try to get to it. And White 35 push. A push going to be called on Eric Vanix. And the ball goes over to Farmingdale.
They're getting the shots, though. That's the thing. Laying the dodge is the more they can do that and the more they get away with it, the more confidence they're going to have.
But also, you'll also notice on that last save, now here comes the slide on the backup, which they didn't have the last time.
Right, when they scored the goal. So Stanzielli and Langdon have both been knocked down pretty good twice.
Farmingdale plays zone defense. Here's Townsend isolating on Marquez. Lost the ball as he tried to get around him. Townsend's been red hot. He's had 6 of his 8 goals in the last 3 games. Great speed. Townsend, the outstanding lacrosse, football, and basketball player. Ryzanek, who's been quiet in the first half. Cross field, Baxo's shot rifled wide.
They're skipping a man now, going to the far side of the Washington defense, and they're getting those shots. But I would say take those underhand shots, crank shots, and put them back in the closet. Shoot overhand bounce shots.
Nick Cavallo, number 32, working on the second midfield with Townsend, 33 rather. And here's Ryzanek, 99. 1:50 to go in a low-scoring first quarter, tied at 1. Port Washington won the Nassau County Championship, you recall, 2 years ago, beating Massapequa. Of course, Farmingdale beat Baldwin last year, winning their 3rd county title in the last 4 years. Cavallo forced back against good defensive work that time. And again, Peixoto will handle it easily.
Again, the shot taken by number 32, Nick Cavallo. You notice as he took his shot, he dropped the head of his stick to make it an underhanded shot and made it a little bit easier for Peixoto.
4 changes on the fly, and we're going to get an offside. Too many guys running on the field, and that'll cost Port possession. And again, those are the little mistakes that they can ill afford to make when you're the underdog playing against a team as explosive as Farmingdale.
Absolutely, and it's the second offsides they've had so far in the game. The first one cost them a man-down situation, which is what gave Farmingdale the equalizer.
This one, since they had possession, will not cost them a man-down situation. They'll just lose possession. Baxo with 1:11 to go as you look at Kenny Case, 13th year, 169 and 76. Former Port Washington football, lacrosse, and basketball player. Also coaches football at Northport High School with Kip Lucarelli, the fine Harborfield's lacrosse coach. And they were winners today along with Comsawat. They'll play for the Suffolk B Championship. Working it behind, DeRupo inverting. He normally plays up top now. The first midfield back, and here's Ime. See if they isolate Ime. He's normally behind the cage, or back so. Zucchelli, and the pass could not be handled, goes out of bounds.
I think there's too much standing around by the Farmingdale team. They're all got their feet planted. They're not moving the ball real well, and I think that's a real problem for them right now.
Could they be a case of overconfidence, Kerry, coming in, having beaten them 13-1, looking ahead perhaps to maybe a game next week against Ward Melville?
Absolutely, Barry. You know, it's you're playing with the minds of 16 and 17-year-olds. It's tough to get those kind of kids to put that game out of their mind. I know Bobby Harram said it's the county finals, you got to be ready. But they still know back in their mind they won handily the last time they played.
Brian Birch with a beautiful clear. And that one by Schmuti is a good outside shooter, knocked down. And again, Farmingdale with possession right here. Number 47 breaking it up. That was Greg Walrap on the fast break here. The pass thrown away. And Farmingdale turns it over. Jay Penn, the long pole midi, came down and forced the pass there, Bob.
You know what I like? Tufano found that man. I was surprised. I didn't see him open myself. They took it through that long pass to him. Again, the problem is he should have gotten rid of the ball a little bit early. Give it to the attack. Let them shoot the ball. Don't take it down as a long stick midi. Give it to your attackman, especially with 13 seconds to go. Take it down and force the ball a little bit.
That's the time remaining in the half. Peixoto will throw it downfield, looking for a break here. Picked off, however, by Tufano. He'll come out of the cage and he'll run the clock out. He is outstanding out of the cage as well as in. So that is the end of a surprising first quarter. Port Washington got the early goal by Stanzielli. against the all-county goalie Tufano. And after one, we're tied in the Long Island Class A final. Port Washington won and Farmingdale won on Cablevision's Long Island Sports Network.
Lacrosse is America's...
Along with Kerry Gluck and Bob Rule as we head to the second quarter. A 1-1 game stands the alley. And Zucchelli exchanging goals. Farmingdale's goal, a man-up goal. And the first time they played, they did very well man-up. They scored 4 out of 7 chances against Port Washington. And that could be a key tonight, because if Port plays a very aggressive game, takes a lot of penalties, Bob Rule, Farmingdale's got the sticks to move that ball around. They could make it a tough night for Port.
We could, except that they had stopped 20 straight, so it's got to give them a lot of confidence. And I think they scored just at the end of that penalty, so it's going to be a factor. However, I think Port's playing, to this point, a pretty smart game in terms of controlling the ball and making sure there's no problem.
John Pichota, who had been inconsistent, Kerry, most of this year, has played very well in the first quarter. Now he'll face Zucchelli, who scored earlier with the right hand. In close. Oh, a nice play that time, broken up as they denied the man in close, Jeff Ime. Back out, it'll go to DeRupo. Pichota motioning to his defense to get set. Baxo working on Caban. Gets in. And again, another stop by Pichota.
It's a great technique. I was watching his position to go. Looked very alert. Stepped to the ball nicely and controlled the rebound, which is all important.
Another offside will put the ball back in the hands this time of Farmingdale. That's the third offside against Port Washington. Overeager, perhaps, Kerry, or...
Well, they're playing very aggressive. I tend to think that, though, he might have gotten a little bit of a push there to get into the offside position. That was Schmoody that was back on the attack, who did step over. But that's the third opportunity that they've lost.
Baxo dropping it off to Zucchelli. They've been setting up Zucchelli on the wing to take the shot to Rupo. Normally a midfielder playing behind. Now Ryzanek up top. They go to Ryzanek, and he puts his club in front. A rifle of a shot for goal number 40. Jeff Ryzanek, the senior, going to Ohio Wesleyan. The all-county player, one of 7 all-county players on this Farmingdale team.
Well, he really had a nice shot. He was in close, I think, on Pichota, as we'll take another look at it. Watch him get the feed on the offside. Here he is, right at the top of your picture, and he has a nice opportunity. He's really got good position for that shot. He put it high, stick side on the goalie.
Did you see Russ Lakey actually dropped it? Lakey could have caught it on the crease. He actually dropped and let Ryzanek catch it to score the goal. I think the key is what Kerry said before. Port can't make mistakes and give up the ball like they did on the offsides, or this is what's going to happen.
Well, Farmingdale controls the face-off. Penn, the wingman, picked it up. And here's Peter DeRupo, a very physical player. And he'll drive right, picked up by Birch. DeRupo with 29 goals. Behind the cage, coming out, Pichota with the check. Farmingdale, however, will pick it up. Ime with the cross-field pass, nicely broken up by Caban, 25 to Mitty. A lead up ahead, a nice outlet. They've got Tim Brown breaking in. He's the captain in basketball and football, outstanding student athlete. Going to Harvard next year, Tim Brown, and he cleared it nicely.
Peter DeRupa did a good job getting back, cutting off that fast break, because that was a great outlet pass by Pichota.
Pichota playing very well, the senior, 2-year starter for Port Washington. He's played in some pressure games. Now here's Langton coming in. He'll rifle it wide. They had a backer, and they'll retain possession. Timmy Langton, who's got a good inside roll. He can power dodge with his size. He makes things happen, Kerry. One of the premier players in Nassau County.
And again, he took that shot left. He dropped the head of his stick again, making it an underhanded shot, which I think is one of the reasons why it went wide rather than taking the overhand bounce.
Kenny Case calls him one of the best middies he's ever had. He's had some outstanding players at Port over the last few years. Langton, one of the best attackmen, I should say, he's ever had. Here's Stanziali, working against Blagrove. Blagrove with great speed himself against Stanziali. 2 very quick players, Blagrove, an all-county defender. 7.5 minutes to go, second quarter. Port Washington with possession, trailing 2-1. Langton will pick it up, chased by Jay Penn. Now will be cut off behind the cage out front. Schmuddy with the shot. He normally will crank that home from that angle, but missed the cage there, Kerry.
Well, again, he took it sidearm. You saw the shot taken sidearm, and there's very little control over the ball when you take your shot sidearm. I think, again, and Bob and I have said this more than once now, had they taken those shots a little bit more overhand, there might be a little bit more accuracy with those shots.
Felix Nassau now has checked into the ballgame defensively for Farmingdale in the defensive midfield, number 6. As Langton comes back toward midfield. He'll go one-on-one against Jay Penn here. Dumps it off. Farmingdale all over the ball, and they'll get a foul called here.
Well, there should be a tripping call, I would think, against Farmingdale.
The patience of Port Washington was what they have to do. I totally agree with you. They stopped going one-on-one and started to give it to other players. As the other players, they got confidence. Stanziel and Langton started to dish it off a little bit more. I like the idea of when they inverted and put Schmuti behind, he's got a good stick, and put Langton in front so he has a little more room to maneuver. The result was that play.
Blagrove called for the penalty.
I take it back. They gave Farmingdale a break, I think, Barry. They gave it a push for 30 seconds rather than the trip.
All right, Port Washington's man-up has not been good all year. They were 0 for 9 against Farmingdale the first time they played, and operating at only around 25% this year. Schmutty's shot goes wide, and nobody backing that time. Tufano racing to the end line, and not well-designed play there as we look at the helmet. The Dalers' defense.
Of death. Well, again, first of all, Port Washington allowed Farmingdale to push them so far out. They had really not a good shot, and then they weren't patient, and they took the sidearm shot again. 3 or 4 key mistakes. And then they had no one backing the goal up to get the ball back.
Baxo will look to clear here. Chased by Langton, now doubled up and driven out of bounds. Good defensive play, and the ball goes back over to Port Washington.
I think Coach Harrap was a little bit upset with that call. He just high jumped 6 feet.
He and Buddy Krumenacher arm in arm.
They're certainly getting it to the ear.
And Port Washington will get it back. They'll make changes right now, as they'll bring in Scott Melvin, number 11, to work with Kevin Schmuti and Brian Birch in the midfield. And we'll get a timeout taken right here by Port Washington. Buddy Krumenacher pleading his case right now as he goes out to discuss it with the official. And the official walking away over there.
See that? Buddy Krumenacher is kind of chatting, I'm sure, asking, Mr. Official, please can you tell me what happened?
We've got a timeout. Don't forget, we'll have the big doubleheader next week here at Hofstra. And we'll have the Suffolk County champions playing the Nassau champions. Let's see that double team along the sideline. I'm sure Buddy felt that there should have been perhaps a penalty called on it. Baxo trying to bring it up. Langton. And now joined by Schmutty over there.
Well, I would imagine he's looking, Buddy's trying to buy a call here is what he's really trying to do. He's trying to get the push call or maybe even a cross check, but I think he'd be happy with anything. But he's buying it. I think it was a good call by the official to put it on the sideline.
Let's go to Carl Reuter on the field, gentlemen.
Barry, you and I were talking before the game. Remember, you know, it seems like just yesterday we saw this. Remember, I think we even fonted it and had the graphic up, Barry Landers. But this is the friend of Anthony Tufano, the goalie. And I asked the girls, the scorekeepers, why he brings this out. They said just for the playoffs. He brings it out for the county championships, and there are some of the girls. The scorekeepers, the people behind all the hard paperwork down here on the field that keep the assists and the goals and the shots and the ground balls. They do all the hard work, along with Anthony Tufano's friend. And Barry, you know what? There it is.
Carl, I live for a second year. I'm reincarnated. Thank you. All right. Play about to resume here, Bob Rule, with 6:23 to go and Port Washington trailing 2-1.
And I know Carrie would agree on this. So a lot of times the coach is not so much looking for this call, he's looking for the next call. So he's giving him a hard time saying the next time there's a questionable push, you're going to go my way. And so they're sometimes setting it up for the next call that's going to happen. Because I agree with Carrie, he was trying to strictly buy a call. That didn't look like a push to me.
All right, Birch for Port Washington brings it across to Langton. Guy they'd like to set up. This is Timmy Caban, who'll play on that first midfield, replacing Scott Melvin often, and he's in right now. Work the ball behind. Stanziali against Carney. Now Schmutty who's capable of scoring. He has 35 goals, been hot, has it taken away by Jay Penn. Penn with great legs and a magic stick. They call him a magic wand for a stick. Lost the ball as he ran into a check over there. Timmy Caban, number 25, coming over.
Well, the two things I liked about that last play. Number one, Jay Penn cleared the ball. You notice he had the stick in his outside hand, in his left hand. That was really well done by Jay Penn. However, you also notice that he didn't have the ability to throw the ball or pass the ball with his left hand. So it was a good play by Jay to put the ball in his left hand, work on that left hand to make the pass.
Again, Port Washington looking to tie it. Caban isolating one-on-one here. Weak shot. Tufano had no trouble. Great clear right up the middle. And they look to break right here on the fast break opportunity. Off it'll go, and that one deflected off a stick. And hustling back, it'll be Port Washington ball. Excellent work that time by Port Washington, getting back in the fast break and breaking up the play.
Well, when I look at the defense now, I always look to see that they're getting in tight, and that's what Port Washington did then. They got in tight and really didn't allow them to throw the ball in the rotation. I also think Rozanek was a little bit, well, should have looked for the corner guys. He took a shot from too far out.
Yeah, I agree, Bob. I think he should have looked for that diagonal cross feed.
Right.
Now Port will clear it, looking once again to tie up this game in a low-scoring first half. Birch over to Schmuddy. Schmuddy sweeping right. High, Tufano had no trouble with that. There is a player down. And it appears to be a Port Washington player shaken up on the play. It's Melvin, Scott Melvin, I believe. Number 11, is it? Yep, it is Scott Melvin, right. Scott, the 6'1", 165-pound junior. Carl Friedman, the doctor, checking him out. Excellent football and basketball player. And we have timeout right now with 5:06 to go in the first half. Right now, Farmingdale leading Port Washington in a cliffhanger 2-1. Barry Landers along with Kerry Gluck and Bob Rule. As we mentioned, next week, big doubleheader here at Hofstra. The Long Island A and B championships will be on hand for that. And Comstock and very fine Harborfield's team have advanced to the Suffolk County B championship. Comstock winning today 13-7 as they were led by LaRusso, who had 3 goals. Harborfield's beat Babylon 11-3. And Torino had a couple of goals in that game. Kerry, you know the Suffolk teams well. They'll, of course, play an outstanding Lynbrook team that beat Garden City earlier tonight, 8-6. How about Comstock against Harborfield?
Well, they played earlier in the season, Barry. They played one game earlier on, Comstock defeating Harborfields by 1 goal. It was a 7-6 game, I believe, or 8-7. I think it's a real good matchup. I think it was predicted. Comstock is seeded number 1, Harborfield is seeded number 2. So the seeding came out as expected, and I think it's going to be a fine matchup come Saturday.
Well, the winner, of course, will play a Lynbrook team that you know so well, Bob Rule. Your Manhasset team lost to them, and then Garden City had their unbeaten string snapped earlier tonight. And the Marinos had 3 goals. John Marcus played brilliantly in goal. Rob Grella had 3. What about Lynbrook? Can they go all the way?
I think Lynbrook can go as far as they want to go. We played Yorktown earlier, which is usually the big power upstate, and we defeated them in Manhasset 5-4. I think Lynbrook's got what I call strength down the middle. They've got a very good goalie in Marcus, a great face-off man in Marinos, and 3 very good attackmen.
All right, gentlemen, we'll talk more about that. Of course, next week we'll be on hand for that one. The Lynbrook team taking on the winner of the Suffolk County Championship. Right now, Farmingdale with possession, leading it 2-1. Ryzanek brings it across. Jeff Ryzanek, who got the go-ahead goal earlier, over to Baxo. Brian Baxo working against Brian Birch. Good matchup here. Baxo shot deflected by Pashota. Pashota doing an excellent job in goal so far. And they'll work the ball, Farmingdale. Looking to set it up. I'm off the pass from Lakey. So Kelly couldn't handle the ball. I'm shoots, and it goes wide once again. And this time, Farmingdale can't get to the end line quickly enough. It will be a Port Washington ball.
I want to go back to Baxo's shot. If you remember, he took a good overhand bounce shot, which got a lot of action around the goal. It rolled out, eventually got it back, and yet got another good shot. That's so important. Take that good overhand bounce shot to keep the ball moving.
I also thought it was a good look when they came up with the rebound shot after the shot. They fed it right up top, and it was a good opportunity again.
Timmy Caban against Ryzanek brings it across. Port looking to tie it up in this 2-1 game. Farmingdale leading. Schmuddy who's their leading goal scorer among their leaders with 35. Swings it crossfield to Langton. Flag now thrown. It's a delayed penalty coming up. It should be against Farmingdale here. And are they going to call it offside here, or?
Absolutely. What happened was, as Farmingdale was making their change, they came off on the wrong side of the field.
And since they did not have possession, it'll be a 30-second penalty and another man-up situation for Port Washington.
This time, Port has got to penetrate. Last time, Farmingdale pushed them too far out to the perimeter.
Buddy Krummenacher telling Mr. Zucchelli a couple of things over there. And right now, man-up situation for Port Washington. Hard to believe, Kerry and Bob, with 4 all-county players playing on offense, that the man-up would only be 25%. You'd think that they'd be able to move the ball and find somebody open and be able to take advantage of the man-up.
I guess it only goes to how important the other 2 guys.
Maybe they're doubling up. All right, Langton, they swing it, Stanziali. Back up top to Birch, to Schmuddy. On the wing. Langton comes around. And Tufano knocked it down. Langton going down there.
To me, their man down is spread out so far that nobody has a chance for a shot. I think they've got to penetrate or tighten up and move the ball faster.
And again, on a man-up similar to what they've just had, they're going too much of the one-on-one. They're looking to attack the cage with Langton coming around one-on-one, and there's got to be the open man somewhere, and they're not finding him right now.
All right, Port Washington with possession here. Penalty is over. Teams are all even right now as Townsend has come back on. It's 6-on-6. And that one just rifled wide as they set it up that time for Stanziali. And Stanziali, who's got the ability to shake loose from a defender, got a good shot off.
Sidearm high and wide. Overhand bounce shot. Get that rebound.
On cage.
On cage.
Spoken like coaches, not like players.
Well, you know what I think right now? They're just trying to shoot the ball so hard past Tufano that they're not concentrating on the shot technique as opposed to how hard they can shoot the ball.
I think you're right, Kerry.
Teams all even once again here. Langton with 2:50 to go in a surprisingly low-scoring first half. Farmingdale leading it 2-1. Remember, Farmingdale had 29 goals in the first 2 playoff games. Birch cut off nicely, swings it. Jimmy Peixoto, the younger brother of John, cross field. And that one just toward the goal, deflected. And we'll get another couple of players down in a pile over there. A couple of players down on the field. We'll get a penalty call. A gathering over there. Penalty, the call will go against Port Washington. And another injury perhaps as Dr. Carl Friedman comes out to check up on things. Time is out with 2:25 to go here in the first half. And Farmingdale leading it 2-1. The Dalers coming in with a 17-0 record. And Bob Hartenramp looking for his 365th win. You know, the first time they played Bob Rule, it was his 50th birthday when they beat Port Washington. And on that very same day, he tied Bill Rich's record for most wins in Nassau County lacrosse history, 360. And, of course, he's gone on to break that record.
Well, he's a legendary coach, and I remember, I think it was about 7 or 8 years ago, when we played Farmingdale in the finals or semifinals and lost to them, and I suddenly realized that Farmingdale had a real program. I kind of ignored them for a while, and you realize that they were a team to be reckoned with, and certainly in the last 10 years, they've become one of the most powerful teams on Long Island.
Well, you speak about Farmingdale, you speak about Bobby Hartenramp. Here's a guy who never saw a lacrosse game until he coached his very first game. Came from upstate Oswego, Cary, and was coming down to get a job here as a basketball coach or baseball coach. As we see, Kirk Blagrove is okay and is up on his feet, and that's a good sign for the Dalers. But he's turned out to be an incredible coach.
Well, I think in more ways than one. I think not only just in his knowledge of the game, that he's done so much reading and learned so much about the game, but I think he has a knack, Barry, to really motivate players, and I think that's really one of the keys to Bob's success, in addition to his knowledge.
Well, Lou Ritigliano, who was the earlier Farmingdale coach, tutored him well in the game, and of course is now one of his assistants, along with Buddy Krummenacher. What a staff to have those guys as your assistants. All right, they'll try to bring it across to Rupo, checked out of his stick. Good work that time. Stanziali doubling up. Fast break opportunity. Stanziali against Penn. Penn, good defensive work that time, and they lost the advantage there, and Penn leaving the ball for Tufano. Good work by Penn. We told you they consider him to have a great stick. He called a magic wand. And now Baxo with his team under 2 minutes to go in the first half, leading by a goal. Baxo against Melvin. Lays it off for Zucchelli. Quick stick shot. And Farmingdale with backing will have possession as we'll get changes here defensively in the midfield for Port Washington. Marquez, 16, coming into the game, along with a couple of his teammates.
I think that's where, Kerry, you pointed out earlier, Stanziali was trying to go to the goal with 5 guys on him, and you can't do that. You should have pulled it out, settle the ball down a little bit.
Too much one-on-one, as you pointed out earlier. John Sanders, or John Shields, also in the game, number 34 defensively for Port Washington. 1:35 to go, first half. Baxo against the shorts, against Marcus with a long stick. Zucchelli swings it to Lakey. Line back up top. Baxo. Good look, and a great opportunity pays off, and they make no mistake about it. Brian Ime coming up with his 34th goal, and the 3-year starter, the All-County player, who his coach says may be better than his brother, who was an All-American, Jeff, who went on to play at Johns Hopkins.
Well, I'll tell you, you know what made this goal go, Barry? It was not just Brian Ime, but it was the feed from up top from the midfielder who found Ime coming around the cage. And that's who I think we got to give credit to. Number 42, Brian Baxo. He made that goal go.
It was almost an alley-oop, if you notice, from basketball. He threw the balls high. The guy caught it and just shot down. Ime shot down hard.
Well, you saw another element of Baxo's ability. He had 22 assists to go along with his 29 goals. Delay of game against Farmingdale off the faceoff, and Fort will get it with 1:19 to go.
Now, it certainly would behoove Port Washington now to take advantage of this possession and get 1 goal back before the end of the half.
Goals against Farmingdale are few and far between. They got that early goal to take the early 1-0 lead. They've been shut out the rest of the half. Again, one-on-one Langton will take Bardak behind the cage. Bardak, big and strong, a 6'2", 215-pounder, going to Towson. That's something for a first-year player to play that well, to earn a spot to play for Towson, one of the premier programs.
Absolutely. Carl Runk must think an awful lot of this young man, and that's certainly a compliment to his ability.
Stanziali forced back by Carney. 45 seconds to go. You see the time remaining. Carney doing an excellent job against him. And now they'll work it to Schmuddy. To Langton. Langton against Bardak. Gets the shot off, and he scores. Oh, what a big goal for Port Washington. With 29 seconds to go in the half, they're back within 1.
What a great move by Tim Langton, as showing his strength, because that's really what it all was about, Barry. Timmy Langton, using all 6'3", 180 pounds, just drove by his defender and took the shot, a hard shot, bounce shot. We now will say it again. Here he is in your picture. He'll go one-on-one against the defender. That's number 34, John Bardak. And there's that overhand shot. Look at the nice camera work as we see it go into the far corner.
Back to the live action, 20 seconds to go. Baxo comes in, a whistle before the shot. Did we get a timeout taken? Yes, we did. Called by Bob Hartenreth before that Baxo shot.
The one little thing that Langton did, which I thought was great, he had a stick in his left hand. Bardak went for the left-hand side, and he came back to a strong hand to the right, and Bardak didn't have a stick on this side, which allowed Langton to take a shot unimpeded.
Let's go down on the field and join Carl Reuter.
Barry, moments ago you saw Blagrove went down on the turf for Farmingdale, appeared to be okay, but his right ankle is really swelled up now. Larry Resnick, gentleman in the red cap there, Dr. Carl Friedman, icing it up, and they're going to tape it up. Hopefully that swelling will go down at halftime. They'll be able to tape him up, and he'll be able to get back into action. Very vital is Blagrove to this Farmingdale team, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Carl. And Blagrove being attended to there. You may remember that this outstanding player had a tremendous season in basketball and lacrosse. In fact, he and Townsend really helped Farmingdale to a real good season. Farmingdale played in the playoffs, and it was Townsend who hurt his ankle in the playoffs in basketball and missed the first month of the season. He's really come on in the midfield in the last couple of weeks, having an outstanding playoff. But psychologically now, all right, let's talk about the play. It's Farmingdale's possession here. What do you think Buddy Krumanaka and the rest of the staff have designed here?
Well, I'd give it to Baxo out front. I would tell the men to line up in front of the crease, maybe one attackman behind to back up the goal, and let him go to the goal, and either dish it off if he gets double teamed, or drive to the goal. He could score, he could get a penalty. Port Washington's going to be very anxious to stop him.
So Kenny Case hoping his defense can do the job. They've held Farmingdale to 3 goals here. 18 seconds to go. Zucchelli. Back to Baxo. Shot blocked. Good defensive work that time. Birch blocked it. Melvin will chase after it. 5 seconds left in the half. And this first half will come to an end in a 1-goal game, as Port Washington has to be delighted after being blown out the first time they played. 13-1 carry. They head now to intermission, just down by 1.
And they do have to feel good about the way they played this first half, Barry. They played inspired, they played hard, they played aggressive, and I think they're just doing the job that Kenny Case wants.
I think Farmingdale's playing a little too much individual stuff. I think they want to get this game over with and go against Ward Melville, and they better watch out or they could find themselves on the losing end.
So that's the story at halftime. Port Washington, Farmingdale locked in a close one on Cablevision's Long Island Sports Network. Carl Roeder coming up at halftime, talking about the junior under-19 lacrosse championships to be played here at Hofstra in late July and early August.
Port Washington trailing Farmingdale by the score of 3-2. Heavily favored Farmingdale. A lot of people thought they'd win this one in a blowout. They're in their ball game right now. Joined by Howard Borkin, and Howard is the chairman for the Under-19 World Lacrosse Junior Championships that'll be held here this summer at Hofstra University. And Howard, that's got to be quite an event coming here to Long Island.
Yeah, it's the first major international competition that's been played on Long Island that's been sanctioned by the International Lacrosse Federation. And this year they feature, an added feature is the Japanese are fielding their first international team in lacrosse. And along with the Iroquois, Australia, Canada, England, and of course the defending champion, United States, we're very excited that we've been selected to host this event.
How did that all come about, that Long Island be the host team?
Well, the championships of international lacrosse, the last major championship of any kind was held in Baltimore in 1982. And it's on a rotating basis, and it was a turn for the United States to host the championship. And they selected us because we presented a site, Hofstra, that can handle the 6 teams comfortably. The AstroTurf facility makes it possible that in case of rain, we're able to carry on the event. And we showed them some good organization and administration that had them satisfied that we could handle this event.
How well did the Japanese play lacrosse?
They took up lacrosse about 7 or 8 years ago. Johns Hopkins went over there when Don Zimmerman was the coach and introduced the sport. They're getting better. I don't know how competitive they're going to be this time around, but they've been very enthusiastic. They've made several trips to Australia, and they made several trips to England. And it's very exciting to have them in this event. And we've had contacts from Czechoslovakia talk to us about them coming over and playing some exhibitions at that time. So it's really becoming very exciting.
All right, Howard Borkin, thanks very much for coming on. We're running out of time here, but quickly, you said June 13th, the Club Lacrosse, you're going to have Gary Gate down here?
It's very likely. Mount Washington Lacrosse Club, which Gary Gate plays for, will be playing the Maryland Lacrosse Club this week. If they win that game, and it's very likely that they will, Gary Gate will be at Hofstra Stadium Saturday night, June 13th, 8 o'clock.
All right, Howard Borkin, thanks very much for being a guest here at halftime.
Thank you, Carl.
All right, and we'll be back with more. Carrie and I will have the halftime numbers and highlights when we come back to Hofstra. Stay with us. A lot of people would have said maybe Farmingdale would be leading 13-2 at halftime. It's 3-2.
Well, I think right now Kenny Case and the Port Washington team are really playing a game that they really wrote down on paper. This is the game plan that they've wanted to have from the very start. They are controlling the tempo of the game, they are controlling the possession of the game, and that's exactly what Kenny Case wants.
And when you look at the halftime numbers, the stats are indicative of the score right now. Everything across the board pretty much even.
Well, there we see the numbers. As you can see, the only thing Farmingdale is dominating is 17-13 on shots. Everything else is very close, indicative of the scores. 4 ground balls, man up or 0 for 2. Farmingdale's only had 1 opportunity. They've taken advantage of it on scoring. Saves are 6-4 in favor of Port Washington.
And when you look at the halftime highlights, it was a close game. It was 2-1, and then 8:41 into that second quarter. Brian I makes it 3-1 Farmingdale.
And he gets a nice feed up top, and I believe that was Baxo, who makes the feed, as we'll see Brian Ime come around the cage unmolested, takes the shot against the goalie from Port Washington. A very nice play by the Farmingdale Dalers.
And then only 29 seconds left in that first half, and Port Washington cuts it to 3-2 on Tim Langton's goal.
Tim Langton just uses his size and his speed right now to come by the defender, Bardak, as he looks to go one-on-one, and he takes a nice hard overhand bounce shot. There is where he protects the stick, shows the left hand, gets Bardak to reach for the stick, puts it back in the right hand, and takes the shot nicely.
Carrie, if you're the two coaches, it's a close game. Kenny Case is probably thrilled to be down 3-2 right now. Bob Hartenraft, if you're a fly in the locker room or where they were over there sitting and talking, he's got to be very, very upset with his team.
Well, I think the only reason why he has to be upset with his team is not that they haven't done well with the ball. The fact of the matter is they haven't had the ball all that much, and I think that's a credit to the way Port Washington has been playing. The only thing that I would think that Bobby is probably saying to his team right now is, let us get into our transition game. Let's push the ball. Let's get our possession of the ball, and let's go to the cage hard and take these good shots.
And, of course, Blagrove has gone down for Farmingdale. We'll check on that injury before the start of the second half, which Carrie Gluck is going to join Bob Rule and Barry Landis for right after this timeout. Farmingdale by 1. We're at halftime.
Now the #1 team in New York State, the Farmingdale Dalers, having a tough first half with the Port Washington youngsters. The Vikings giving them all they could handle, Carrie. And as we look for the second half, well, what do you expect?
Well, I expect Kenny Case to try and play the same kind of game that he's played through most of the first half, Barry. They're going to try and play good possession, I think. They're going to try and go to the cage if they have the opportunity, but not force anything bad, and they're going to try and prevent this face-off from being in the fast break and scoring.
Baxo beat Caban on that face-off. Birch did not take that face-off. Baxo comes in and rifles it wide. The word on Kirk Blagrove is that he has an injured ankle, and he may try to play here. And we'll keep an eye on it. Number 22, Kirk Blagrove, but he is not starting defensively here. Let's check it out. The second half, they have another defender in. We'll pick it up for you in a moment. And here's Zucchelli. We'll swing it back to Baxo. Ryan Baxo, outstanding football player as well as lacrosse player. Knocked down by Peixoto. Good save. He's stung by that one, Bob.
Yeah, hit him in the hand. Actually, it's one of the most vulnerable places for goalies. You'll find a lot of goalies sometimes will break their thumbs, believe it or not, because they'll get hit right on the tip of the thumb. I think they got him in the back of the hand.
Well, he's played very well in the playoffs, Peixoto.
The question I have is, why didn't Birch face off? That's the question I'm curious why.
Good question. Timmy Caban faced off. Here's Zucchelli with that hard left-handed shot. Oh,
hit the pipe, Barry.
Yes, it did. And that long rebound ricocheted right out at Farmingdale. Coming up with the ground balls. This is something they're known for in the past. They run well. They've got the good sticks, and they come up with a lot of ground balls. Port going to have to withstand a rush here. I'm sure Bobby Hartenraft laid into his team and said, play like you're #1 in the state, not play like the team that you played in the first half.
Absolutely. But you know, this is the second half, and I think they're a second half club. Barry, they've got a lot of depth. This is where they can begin to wear down on another team.
Timmy Brown with a good clear. Only his second year playing lacrosse, Timmy Brown. To Stanziali looking to tie the game. He gets in, and not a good shot. And Tufano outlets to Baxo. Baxo will bring it across. Stanziali was checked just as he got that shot off. Didn't have much on it. Big hit right now, and the loose ball picked up by Ime. He falls to the turf, and it rolls out to Baxo. Baxo against Birch, has the step on him. Lays off now, and Ryzanek looking on the crease. He had a man open there. DeRupo stopped in front. DeRupo broken up in front. Looked like he had a great opportunity.
Peixoto came out very, very well, I thought, Bob, and to cut down Eddie Angle. And right now he's having a few words with good old number 30.
Peter DeRupo off the pass from Ryzanek, getting a great opportunity here. Fumbled it at first.
Peixoto comes out and does a nice job of cutting the angle down so that he cannot get the ball around him. It's tough to feed from the front of the goal to the crease, though, and the Farmingdale guys get knocked down pretty good by the Port Washington guys.
Ryzanek coming in with a right-hand shot, wide, and let's see, possession will stay in the hands of Farmingdale. Kirk Blagrove testing that ankle out, and so far Farmingdale's had the ball in the offensive end all the time, so Blagrove's absence not a factor. Jay Penn will play on close defense, replacing him when they come down to the defensive end. He's out there right now. Ryzanek He's got great quickness. And chase back right now is Cavallo, working in that second midfield. Swing it to Ryzanek, and again couldn't handle the pass. Scramble for the ball, and Ryzanek will come up with it. Whips it on the near side to Brian Ime. Ime, a great feeder, going to be a shooter here. Hits the side of the net. Crowd was roaring, thought it had gone in. And here's Peixoto, who has been outstanding tonight, getting it upfield. A chance for Port to tie the game on the clear here. Vanix finds the bounce pass to Marcus. He retreats with the long pole. Wisely gives it back to Vanix. And now Marcus will throw it downfield, looking for Langton. I don't know why he didn't bring it across. Would they have been offside? Had they too many men across field? Perhaps. But he easily could have cleared it with his feet instead of making that tough pass.
But again, just to add to that, Barry, that's not his responsibility to keep the onside. He should have taken it over, and then it should have been a midfielder to be back.
Good point. Cavallo lays it off on the wing, and that hard shot knocked down again. That shot taken by Greg Walrapp, number 47. Good look. Breaking in is Birch. Langton knocked down, and Tufano will play it in the crease. Knocked down again by Melvin, Scott Melvin, on that bad clear. Kick back out toward midfield, and Port Washington with 6:16 to go here in the third quarter, trailing by a goal with possession again.
For the first time, I think, in this quarter, Barry, that they've had the ball in a settled situation in the offensive half.
You know, but Deschota's doing a real nice job in the goal. They're shooting far enough out, so he's playing trying to see the ball, and he's playing with a lot of confidence now.
Blagrove is back in the game defensively.
Go get it.
Langton forced to cut off there. He and Stanziali play behind against Carney and Penn. So Jay Penn, or rather John Bardak, is working defensively against Langton. Stanziali along the near sideline. Port wants to be patient, get a good shot here. They trail by a goal. Schmuddy getting in. Schmuddy hammered as he got that shot off to Fano. Off the goal, coming up with it. Now out of the cage. Gets it to Jay Penn. Stanziali aggressively riding him. But Carney will move it across, and they'll clear here. On the far side, with the big pole is John Bardak. He finds Townsend. And Townsend, who has tremendous speed, he can freeze you. Go one-on-one against you, Karen. He could burn you. They may ISO right now for Townsend.
Absolutely, and you've got to respect his speed. And I'm sure you're going to see Port Washington give him some backup for sure on this ISO, if in fact they do. But it appears that they may be wanting to switch their midfield right now.
DeRupo's coming in, first midfield coming in, and the second midfield will head off.
One of the common errors, too, is they're isolating from directly in front of the goal, which gives maximum backup. The last play was Schmudi on Port Washington going down. They should isolate more to the side because they can only get backup from one side then, rather than from directly in front of the goal.
Kenny Case was talking about the number of shots that come from up top by this Farmingdale team. He said, I'm going to make my defense force him to beat us from outside, not give him the close-in shot. Now Zucchelli. Driving on his man. He drove on Schmuddy.
And again, I have to say that I think that the shot that was not a well-taken shot by the Farmingdale players. I think that they are getting their opportunities. He had his man beat. Zucchelli drove to the cage. It was a one-on-one situation. There was no backup. He had the step advantage, and again, he didn't take that shot well.
Shot high and wide.
Farmingdale with the ball, 4:10 to go, third quarter. They lead it 3-2. Baxo. Farmingdale uncharacteristically not passing and catching as well. DeRupo rifling one wide once again.
It seems to me that Farmingdale looks like they're going to the goal before they catch it. They're so anxious to score, get this game over with, that they're making mistakes that could cost them a ball game.
Farmingdale's won 5 county championships. Trying to make it 6. They won in 89, 91. Good look. Oh, and I'm denied by Peixoto. I'm in close. And they get the ball back as well. Port Washington hustling back there. Marquez back there, along with Timmy Brown.
Peixoto refuses to give up the pipe. He's made 2 key saves because a lot of times goalies will move off the pipe too soon. 2 key saves. However, for Washington defense has got to respect the man sneaking behind the zone. If they don't come over and really pop him once or twice, they're going to be in big trouble.
He's going to have a free rein to the cage.
All right. I'm riding on Birch, so Birch drops it off. And Caban, who's a fine football player, has got the good legs, brings it across. They've got Melvin cutting toward the goal. A delayed flag coming up on another offside here. And the offside against Farmingdale will give Port Washington the man-up situation. And Bobby Hartenraft a little bit concerned, more than a little bit concerned right now. He's waiting for his team to explode, and the explosion hasn't come right now.
Well, and this is part of the reason why they're making these unforced errors right now. Although they have had possession of the ball, I would say, Barry, for probably about 5.5 minutes of this period so far.
Well, Peixoto has been outstanding. We talked about Tufano, and it's been Peixoto really with 10 saves so far that's really been outstanding. Now, a key man up to try to tie the game. They have not scored man up. Birch knocked down by DeRupo. It was not a good pass as he tried to get it to Schmuddy. Stanziali checked along the sideline. And the ball will go over, and a moving pick they're going to call.
They have no confidence at all in their man up. It's almost like they should say, the heck with the penalty, we'll play all even. Incredible. Because they look better. They're pushed out, they're out. First of all, the plays start out almost at the restraining line, so no one has a chance for a good shot to start off. I did like the fact they went to a 3-3 and put a man on the crease, but still, they've got to get close to the goal and penetrate.
I think what they're lacking is a playmaker to work behind the cage. They don't really have a guy like that. Stanziali and Langton are more one-on-one, go-to-the-cage type players.
They need a quarterback,
right.
A quarterback to run their offense.
Ryzanek checked, lost the ball, out of bounds. Port Washington will get it back.
Ryzanek is being called for a ward-off there.
2:45 to go, third quarter. And Farmingdale clinging, and indeed clinging to a 3-2 lead here.
They are really just hanging on right now, and I think the only thing that is the reason why they have been in the lead and may held on to it is the fact that Port Washington hasn't been able to really establish themselves offensively in this half.
Birch looking to clear. Gets it across to Melvin. Scott Melvin, number 11. Over to Stanziali. His brother Tom, of course, an outstanding player. Played on that great championship team in '90, now playing at the University of Delaware. Here's Langton against Bardak.
Now, the last goal that was scored, you'll remember Langton took Bardak to the cage, Barry. So we'll see if he goes one-on-one again with him.
Now Langton and Stanziali work behind.
That's the one. Go, go.
Now top to Birch. Haven't seen Birch try to take his man to the cage. He's got Nazario, number 6, playing with the long pole now. Gets checked by Cavallo. Gets it to Langton. The outside shot wide. Port hustling back. They had a backer there. They'll retain possession.
Yeah, if you notice, Farmingdale is very quick to double on Birch. And if Birch saw, I think it might have been Stanziali in the corner. If he had seen him, Stanziali could have driven right onto the goal.
Now Nazario comes off, replaced by Kirk Blagrove. So Jay Penn will play as a long pole defensive midi.
What I also liked about that last play, Barry, is when Birch got doubled, Langton came up high to get the pass from him to help him out on that double.
Langton, the quick stick shot, but they had no backer that time. And Tufano alertly hustled back. It'll be Farmingdale ball.
Now that's nothing more than a mental error. The far attackman has to swing down behind the goal.
1:45 to go, third quarter. Port trailing 3-2. And it's no slouch that Port is playing well. I mean, the fact that they were ranked number 4 in the state in the latest New York State poll. Farmingdale number 1, Ward Melville, undefeated Suffolk County team number 2, Sachem surprisingly number 3. And it was Port Washington 4 and West Jenny 5.
This slowdown game really helps Port Washington. Fourth quarter, these guys can't be that tired.
Farmingdale has not been involved in these kind of low-scoring games all year. Baxo trying to get to that ball. Vanix will pick it up for Port Washington. And Vanix will bring it across on the clear. Stanziali wants the ball. Instead, he tries to go to Schmuddy. Not a good pass. And it's broken up by Farmingdale. They'll try for some transition. Baxo has the step on Melvin. Picked up by Brown, who's done an outstanding job tonight against Ryzanek. Brown much bigger, Ryzanek much quicker, but Brown has done an excellent job. Ryzanek with the 1 goal, and he's trying to draw Brown out. He's played outside a lot tonight, more as a midi rather than as an attacker. Now under a minute to go, Baxo will isolate here against Melvin. Look on the crease. The quick stick shot and close wide. Taken by Lakey, number 17. Time running down, 30 seconds to go. Zucchelli. Again, they love to go up top. Ryzanek.
One more pass.
Lakey swings it on the wing. You see the time remaining.
Standing, Bob. You notice how Farmingdale is standing.
All standing around.
Baxo will go on Melvin. Gets in and scores a big goal for Brian Baxo with time running out. 5 seconds to go. And Brian Baxo, who we highlighted in the open, comes up with the kind of goal that you expect from this big guy who's going to Loyola next year.
Well, we said early on, he'll just as soon run over you as around you. And that's exactly what Brian Baxo did. But what I'm not happy with right now, if I'm Bob Hartranft, is the fact that we're doing everything one-on-one. We're not getting any movement on the offense, even though we just recently scored. Here's that goal that we just saw Baxo. He went fast. 3 players take that shot. Good hard effort.
You cannot use a stick against him. You've got to use your body, and that's what they did not do then.
And off the face-off, a big psychological goal at 9:55. Farmingdale gets a little breathing room, and they open up a 2-goal lead. We go to the 4th quarter on Cablevision's Long Island Sports Network. A commitment to intellect, a commitment to you. In the true tradition of liberal learning, Adelphi provides a new era of education and self-exploration.
There's a lot of big school atmosphere, but at the same time, it's very personalized. The classes are small, and the professors know who you are.
For more information, write to the Office of Admissions, Adelphi University, Garden City, New York, 11530. Experience the commitment. Experience Adelphi University.
A message from the New York Islanders Student Athlete Leadership Program.
There's one thing that my New York Islander teammates and I know very well, is that there are alternatives to drug and alcohol use.
And we student-athlete leaders promote 2 of those alternatives by encouraging youngsters to participate in sport and to get an education.
The New York State rankings we alluded to earlier. Farmingdale, number 1. Ward Melville, number 2. Lake Ronkonkoma, it's really Sachem, ranked number 3. They are located in Lake Ronkonkoma. Port Washington, number 4. West Genesee, number 5. They've lost a few games earlier this year, but you can not take them out of the late season playoff situation. Latham Shaker also playing very well.
Well, I like the fact that we have 4 Long Island teams ranked numbers 1 through 4, Bob.
Well, what only counts is at the end, 2 weeks from now.
And we know what happened last year. Long Island lost in the semifinals to Yorktown. Garden City beaten by Yorktown, and Farmingdale stunned by an outstanding Lakeland team.
That was a very tough thing. If you recall, Farmingdale had to play 2 days later. Never had a chance to rest, never had a chance to get themselves ready for the game. And
Such an emotional game after beating Ward Melville and getting the monkey off their back, if you will, as Garden City lost earlier, and it was Lynbrook getting the monkey off their back after losing 5 county championship games. All right, a key here could be the face-off. Baxo, however, wins it cleanly as he won that one against Caban. I'm wondering why Birch is not facing off. Zucchelli with a quick stick shot goes wide.
Well, what Port Washington has done is they've got both of their wings playing on the defensive side, so they're conceding the face-off. And I think what they rather have is have Birch on the wing with his speed as opposed to Cabana.
I think, in theory, I think you're right. But in practice, it doesn't look like Cabana is having much success, where Birch had a lot of success early in the game.
I guess they want to avoid, as Gary pointed out, the fast break opportunity right off the face-off.
But there hasn't been one. That's the thing that I don't understand.
Lakey shot wide.
Underhand sidearm righty. Missed the cage by 5 yards.
Lakey has really come on. He's had, in the last 9 games, 15 goals after being switched from midfield to attack. Here's Ryzanek to Baxo. Remember, Farmingdale scores 12 a game. They've been held so far to 4. Here's Baxo against Brown. Brown knocked it away. Ryzanek having trouble scooping it up. And now we get a whistle and a timeout taken by Farmingdale with 9:11 to go. And the Dalers leading by 2. They'll call timeout. Of course, Farmingdale didn't lose a whole lot from last year. You know, we talked about the balance of this Farmingdale team with 6 players almost with 20 goals or more and 5 with almost 30 or more. Last year, it was the Rich Gargiulo show. He had close to 70 goals. He dominated the offense. Now it's a much more balanced team, and that's why Farmingdale feels they're a better team. Let's listen to Kenny Case.
You got to tell the back stuff. He's got the top. Okay. He's got the top middle. Calm down. Right? He's got the top middle. Make sure you're alerting him for the backside cut. Come back. Don't leave early. Stay on. All right, listen. They're looking to skip a pass and start a rotation around. Right? They're looking to rotate and get us coming around the backside. All right, Eric? Heads up. Heads up. You got to keep up.
Well, Kenny Case trying to point out to his defense to be cautious of the backside sneak as Farmingdale's going to look to try and pass the ball around the outside and skip a pass. And they're, of course, keying on Eric Vannigs as the man who's responsible for defending against that backside sneak.
Well, Kenny had to remake the defense late in the season, adding Danny Marcus and Lance Marquez with a lot of playing time and Omar Rivera. And they've done an excellent job late here in the season. Kenny said, I had to mention that his 2 kids are here tonight on the sidelines helping him out. Young Matt, who 2 years ago when they won the championship was quite a figure on the sideline. He's 9, and his daughter Kaylin, who's 13. So we got the family plug in, and Bobby Hartenrath has 3 lovely children, one 23. We talked to his daughter Jill, 15 the other night, and his son 13. So we got the Hartenrath family in as well. Lakey playing up top. Remember, he was a midfielder last year, so he can play up there. To Ryzanek. They've got DeRupo playing down close to the goal. Baxo now setting up in the crease area, an unusual spot for him. Skip pass to Ryzanek. Checked by Marcus, but ball is recovered by Lakey. Zucchelli off the Lakey stick, but the speedy Russell Lakey picks it up. He's a junior, one of the few non-seniors on this team. Zucchelli comes in, and a hard shot wide, but they did have a backer there, and they had Eim backing up. So Brian Eim, the captain, as we look at John Peixoto, who certainly played an outstanding game tonight. If Kenny Case was worried about this inconsistent young man, he's played a very fine game. Baxo again shoots it wide, but there was another backer.
I would agree with you. I think John Peixoto has really done a job. He's really kept Port in this game.
Well, Joe Noga played the last game against East Meadow. We talked about them not being that pleased with the goaltending. The game we did against Massapequa, Peixoto didn't play an outstanding game. Noga split the game with him. Noga played very well in the final game against East Meadow, gave up 1 goal, had 15 saves in that game. Then they had to decide, what do we do come playoff time? John Peixoto has been our main guy, and they decided to start him. He played very well in the win over East Meadow in the playoff, and certainly very well against Oceanside. A very good offensive team in winning 6-4. And he's played well tonight, 4 goals.
Very well. I mean, he's been a keys maker. Several key saves, nice clearing, did a real nice job clearing the ball. I noticed the Farmingdale went to a 1-4-1, and it looks like they're trying to slow the ball down, which I think is a mistake at this time of the game.
Caban working in the midfield. This is Stanziali, given a lot of room now by his defender, Todd Carney, respecting his speed. Stanziali takes him behind. Again, not much movement on the ball here. Farmingdale leading by 2, 7.5 minutes to go. Caban. Outside here, Schmuddy coming in. Schmuddy off to Langton. Do not see Birch in the game right now, and I'm wondering, we haven't seen him a lot here. Maybe that's why he perhaps is hurt or something. Langton going down. He's on the sideline right now. Here's Schmuddy. Schmuddy against Walrap, doubled here. Penalty coming up on Farmingdale. And as he comes out of the box, the call is made. Now Birch will come onto the field in the man-up situation.
One of the things that bothers me is the fact that in a situation like the flag goes down, you really have a free shot. And a lot of people just kind of stop. At that time, I think it was Stanziali just kind of rode out the box without getting that free shot and then going to the extra man.
0 for 3, man up. And what a chance right now for Port to close the margin to a goal on this man-up situation.
This is a real big man up right now for Port, Barry.
This is Rivera, 27, who plays man up, Omar Rivera. And again, Birch swings it to Rivera on the right wing. Langton. Nobody moving really now. Again, their man up has not looked good all year and not good tonight. Back to Birch. Time running down on the penalty. Again, nothing toward the cage, no movement. Stanziali forced back out by Blagrove. Here's Birch trying to go against number 30. And now we get a whistle. And a timeout taken by Kenny Case.
Well, I tell you what I see, Barry. Well, the fact of the matter is, right now, Farmingdale's 5 defensemen are playing all out in front of the cage. When they're swinging the ball around, their report was in a 1-4-1.
Yeah.
The man behind, who happened to be Langton, is not looking to come around the cage. He's not looking to draw that defender to open up the middle a little bit. So the defense is just sitting right all in front of the cage, and Langton is standing behind the cage, not making an attempt to come around and create something on the offense.
That's right. The irony is that Langton, when they're 6-on-6, is coming around the goal all the time, and when he really has a good chance right now, the opportunity's not. They're so tentative on extra man. They're actually playing outside the restraining line, and at any time a Farmingdale defenseman is coming up to challenge them, they're just moving away. Someone's got to take charge out there, and that's the real problem. I think you pointed out earlier, Carrie, that they're not. There's no quarterback out there. There's no one really directing the offense, the man-up offense, and that's really hurting them.
Well, as we mentioned, Timmy Langton has 25 assists, Stanziali 18, but you don't have that super playmaker, which they've had certainly in the past. You know, you look at that team in 1990, the outstanding players that they had, even from last year's team. They lost the likes of, Steve Bardung, Vinny Delacano, Todd Higgins, the great defender, John Grazer, but you lost people like the midfielders like Brian Tomeo and Tor Morrow, who played on the championship team of Princeton this past year. Great players.
Those are tough shoes to fill.
And Thomas Stanziali, another great player who played on that team. I think they had, what, 7 or 8 kids that went to Ivy League schools. They had all over 90 averages on that team. What an amazing story.
2 or 3 to Harvard.
Right. All right, play resumes. Come on, let's see what they'll do here. Still a man up. Work it around. The penalty should be over shortly, but it should end right now. Caban can't handle the pass. Check that time. And now things getting a little bit rough there as we get a whistle and a stoppage in play here. Peter DeRupo getting a little physical over there. Number 30, he's a very aggressive player.
Well, the official's calling the push over here. There's the loose ball push.
And it's going to go against Bardak. So there'll be a man down. Once again, Farmingdale. But they can afford to take the penalties if the Port Washington team can't make them pay.
Port Washington has got to move the ball. Someone's got to take charge and penetrate. It's got to be Birch, Langdon, Stanziali, one of their good players. Schmooney's got to take the ball and penetrate.
All right, Rivera with time becoming a factor, under 6 minutes to go.
They've just gone from 2 men up to 1 man up now.
Now it's a 6-on-5. Caban back up top. Caban cross field. They move it quickly now. No pass, no shot there for Stanziali. Schmuddy getting checked. Off to Birch. Back out to Schmuddy. To Caban. Good defense here, but they're not getting the chance.
There's no penetration.
No. Bardak will come on shortly. Now he'll be replaced by Townsend, who will replace him when the penalty is over. So Townsend about to come on the field. And again, wasting time here with these passes so far off the goal. Stanziali looking for Langton on the crease. Couldn't get it to him. Again, quick pass, and the shot by Rivera. Knocked down. Tufano coming out, looking for the clear. Tufano checked. He's out of the cage. And recovered now by Langton. Teams are all even, however, and they've missed the boat on those man-up situations. 4:49 to go. Port trailing by 2.
They've got to make the play start from behind the goal.
That's not happening. Basically circle kind of offense right here. Birch. Rivera, number 27, has played on the wing. Omar Rivera. Originally listed on our roster as 23, but wearing number 27. Stanziali going to the cage. Doubled up, knocked away. And Port Washington, DeRupo playing with a long pole here. Normally a short stick mini, but they've used him in this situation, and he's come up big. He's a very aggressive player. Hine getting it up. And here's Townsend legging it down with great speed, moves in. Townsend, the rebound, scores! Michael Townsend, who played a key role in that victory over Ward Melville, comes up with a huge goal to give the Dalers a 3-goal lead, 5-2, and that is his 7th goal in the last 4 games. Townsend coming up with the goal, and look at the face of the goalie as Michael Townsend makes it a 3-goal game.
And Michael Townsend does it all by himself. He takes the overhand bounce shot, gets his own rebound, follows the shot right in on the crease, and again he puts it down low for the second shot, and that could be the killer, because what happened right now, Barry, is we saw the extra man situation for Port on for a minute and a half, didn't score, and Farmingdale comes down and scores.
Time out on the field, and the Dalers with a 3-goal lead with 3:52 to go in the 4th quarter. You're watching Cablevision's exciting Long Island Sports Network.
The more you know, the more successful you can be.
It feels good to know what I want to do in life. I can get a job like that.
I'll be finishing college 2 years earlier.
I've got the winning edge.
Bosie's Tech Center, the power to succeed.
Lacrosse is America's fastest growing and most exciting sport. For all your lacrosse needs, it's Ullman Sports International. Ullman has the best in protective equipment. Custom sticks with exclusive Ullman pockets, the latest t-shirts, team jerseys, shorts, jackets, and a full line of officials gear. Ullman Sports International has everything you need to play your best and look great doing it. For a free catalog, call 1-800-BESTSTICK.
And our thanks to Ullman for his sponsorship, the Ullman Lacrosse Supplier. Jimmy Ullman and the fine people at Ullman Sports. Key face-off once again, and this one comes back to Zucchelli. And Farmingdale in command right now with 3:45 to go and a 3-goal lead. You remember, this team has not given up many goals this year, 40 to be exact, 2.4 per game. And they've given up their 2 already. The first one came in the first minute or so of play, and Tufano has stopped them all. Here's DeRupo bouncing off the check of Melvin. Loses the ball. Melvin will pick it up. Port looking for something here, some kind of transition. Melvin checked from behind by Zucchelli, and he takes it away, but we may get a push here. Loose ball push. And the ball goes over to Port Washington.
Well, the official calling the loose ball push as Melvin went down after the check, giving the ball back to Port. Now, this is another important possession for Port Washington. They've got to be able to score to bring themselves back within striking distance.
I think what's happened to Port, too, they were almost too conservative. They couldn't believe that this close. On the face-off, they didn't have a man on the offensive side of the field. So when Basco goosed it back, there was only one guy there to pick it up, and that was the Farmingdale guy. They should have had a guy on the offensive side, because what have you got to lose with 3 minutes to go and you're down by 3 goals?
At this point, they've literally conceded the faceoffs, as you pointed out earlier, Kerry. Just didn't want to get burned. But right now, you've got to gamble. You need possession of the ball. You can't concede possession, because time is running out. Under 3.5 minutes to go. And Tufano, who's got a feathery pass out to Nazario, just like Bobby Rule had when he was playing, folks.
Well, because I couldn't run, so I had to learn how to throw the ball.
Over to Ryzanek. Ryzanek has not been a major factor in this game. Give credit to Brown, who's played him most of the night. Here's Baxo. Baxo inverting, taking the short stick behind as he takes Birch behind. Baxo gets the shot off, hits the side of the net, and recovered by Port Washington. 2:30 to go. They need a goal.
Take another step coming around that cage on that last shot by Baxo, Barry. He had very little angle. One more step and he would have been over the pipe, the plane of the pipe.
Schmuddy moving in. And Tufano comes up with the save. Outlet to Ryzanek. avoids the check. Ryzanek on the fast break. Doubled, bounces off the check, rifles it wide, but Ime is backing. And it'll still be Farmingdale ball with 2:05 to go. And the Dale is leading 5-2 as Farmingdale will take time out.
One thing I noticed Tufano, he is so quick to find the right guy. A lot of goaltenders will throw good passes, but it's throwing to the right guy is so important. I've seen Tufano make 2 or 3 real good passes to people that a lot of goalies would never notice.
You know, everybody talks about the great records that Farmingdale's had over the last several years, but this Port Washington team quietly with a record of Kenny Case 91-12 over the last 5 years, and he's done a fabulous job over there at Port.
Take the Cole. All right, we're looking for Beard. Okay, it's a little too early yet. Okay, actually it's not too early. Just when it gets behind, then we're into it. Right now, hey Melvin,
We got to pressure him.
all right?
I'm good.
Come here.
We got to pressure him.
One more. Come in. Come here.
There's a long stick on the ball. Cut off the ball.
Listen to me. We're playing
Hey,
Beard.
they got to keep it in the box.
Right, we're playing Beard. All right. Omar, yes, Omar, you're on the ball. Okay.
Where's the ball right now?
All right. Back. Okay, we got it.
All right, so
Six people. The ball goes behind. We're in Beard.
Got it.
Who's on the crease? Who's on the crease?
Omar's going to go off the crease.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Defense. 1, 2, 3. Defense. Get out there and talk about it right now.
Well, Kenny Case setting up his defense. I would think at this point, Barry, with just over 2 minutes, they're going to try and put some pressure all over now. They're going to play a little bit of lock-on, I would think, try and take the ball away. They're going to come off the crease and perhaps use their goalie, Peixoto, to play the crease man and look to double the ball.
I probably would double the ball right now with 2 defensemen, put the goalie on the farthest man, but that's not what they're doing. You got 2 minutes, you got to get the ball for offense.
Ime will work against Brown. Now they'll double up. Peixoto came out, doubling up. Now flag down. And it's going to be a slash on Timmy Brown. And that will give a 1-minute man-up situation. And this one just about over right now. Farmingdale can just run the clock out, literally, with 2:04 to go. And Bobby Hartenrath breathing a sigh of relief. He's looking for win number 365, and it wasn't easy tonight, Bob. It's still not over. But it'll take a miracle for Port Washington to win this game right now, Kier.
Well, certainly, I think Farmingdale will be smart enough to use the full minute of their penalty rather than look to go to the cage early. They should eat up the clock and leave only a minute to go on the all-even.
I think they should practice ball control. Whenever you get a chance to practice ball control the last 2 minutes of the game, you should try.
So Kelly. Now Ryzanek picks it up behind. So Kelly, the pass behind. Again, Ryzanek having trouble picking the ball, scooping tonight. As Peixoto came way off, trying to battle for it, and they forced the turnover.
Well, there's reason why they have to practice ball possession, because in these close games, that could be the difference between winning and losing.
Well, if you remember the Ward-Melville game last year, Kerry came down right to the end of the game, a 1-goal game, and Farmingdale turned it over. Ward-Melville ended up with a chance to win, tie that game in the closing seconds. But this is a more experienced Farmingdale team. That was a junior-laden team. Now, since they have a man up here, they're doubling up Farmingdale. The clear by Birch. Now we have a stoppage in play. The officials conferring, counting up numbers. And they're 2 men down right now, believe it or not, and they're checking how many people are on the field. I see 2. I didn't see the 2 calls, but Brown and Melvin are both in the box right now. Let's count up the players. They're trying to clear 2 men down here. Birch will bring it toward the sun. Now Ryzanek trying to strip it, but cannot. Birch clears it. There's still 2 men down. Now another flag is thrown. Delayed flag here, but an opportunity for Birch to get a shot off. 2 men down there, and it goes wide. Now let's see what the call will be.
We're going to have an offsides. That's correct. And again, Port Washington, as soon as they went into that man-up situation, should have shot the ball immediately to get their man-up team right on.
Well, it's the last 2 minutes I've liked Port Washington's offense the best I've seen the second half, because now they're playing real aggressive. The guy comes right down, he takes advantage of a transition and comes down for a good shot.
Kerry, the Suffolk teams are down to their Final Four. They'll be playing Wednesday matchups.
The final in the A's tomorrow will have Ward Melville involved. Of course, they're seeded number 1. Sachem is seeded number 2. They'll be playing West Islip, and Walt Whitman will be playing in the Final Four tomorrow, and that game will be played at Brentwood High School. Games are being played at 3 o'clock and at 5 o'clock.
Okay, and then on Saturday, the championships will be played, the Suffolk Large and Small School Championships, the A and B, if you will. And the winners of those games will take on the Nassau winners. You'll see those games next Tuesday to be played here at Hofstra. We'll have it for you. Lynbrook taking on the winner of the Comstock Harborfields Championship game this Saturday. And then maybe we'll see Ward Melville, but they'll have a tough game. Are they playing Walt Whitman, Kerry, in one of the semi, and Sachem playing West Islip in the other?
That's correct. And Whitman has really done a great job this year. I have to give a lot of credit to the Whitman team. They've really played superb. They tied with Smithtown East for first place. They beat Smithtown East in the playoffs, and we saw Smithtown East play. They had a real fine year also, winning their league as co-champions. And here we are down to the Final Four.
Well, Port Washington, everybody thought this might be a blowout, but give credit to Kenny Case's club. They hung right tough. This was a 3-2 game going into this fourth quarter, Bob Rule.
Well, a little better man up, and the game could be tied right now. But giving credit, they were down. They lost to these people badly, 13-1. They knew they were really outmanned. Everybody felt they were outmanned, and they came out and played really defensively as best as I think they could play.
No question about it. They lost a lot of people, Port Washington, from last year's club. There are only 2 losses. If they lose this one, will come at the hands of Farmingdale. They'll finish 15-2 on the year, but they're not quitting here. They get in, and they're more aggressive right now going to the cage than they have been, as you said earlier, when they had the man up Stanziali going hard to the cage. They haven't driven the cage from behind, and they haven't from the wing been very aggressive as we get another flag late here in the game.
Well, this is the last 2 minutes. I've liked their offense the best I've seen in the last 30 minutes. I mean, they drove the goal. They realized they've got to score, so now they're going to the goal tough.
And now they're going to be 2 men up.
Bardak going off with Townsend already in the box, so it's a 6-on-4 with 1 minute and 1 second to go, and we'll get another timeout, this time Farmingdale.
And, you know, if Port Washington does score now, it's going to leave Farmingdale a little bit of a bad taste in their mouths. You end a game like this, you know, it's not a real good game for them. The opposition scores with 1 minute to go. Psychologically, you want to hold these guys.
They'll have a week to get ready for their next game next Tuesday night. They'll play the Suffolk winner. Let's take a look at the last sequence. The penalty, perhaps. Stanziali going hard to the cage. Keep an eye on Bardak, 34. Comes out, gets the stick up high, and gets him.
Right, that's where you saw Bardak drag the back of the stick as Stanziali drove by him, and he caught him in the mask.
And the other thing, they skipped the man then. They skipped the man so that the zone was a little bit more open, so that he could drive the goal. That's what they perhaps should have done earlier on their extra man.
Well, should Farmingdale hold on, and you see only 1 minute and 1 second to go, it'll be their 6th county championship under Bobby Hartenraft. 78, they beat Lynbrook. 83, Bethpage. 88, Port Washington. So Kenny Case's club losing for the 2nd time in a championship game to them. 89, Garden City. That was an outstanding game. And, of course, 91, Baldwin. The only team to break that run from 88 through 92 was, of course, Port Washington when they won in 1990, rather. So play about ready to resume. You know, they talk about Tufano. Talking to Buddy Krumenaka, who works with the goalies, he says that right now Anthony Tufano, in his mind, is better than his All-American goalie, Scott Giardino, who's gone on to have a brilliant career.
Giardino's the Hopkins goalie. He's just named 2nd team All-American. I mean, you can't do much better than that.
That's quite a compliment for Anthony Tufano.
Yes, and Tufano looks, well, you've got to see a goalie under real pressure. Last year against Ward Melville under real pressure, I thought he played tremendous for a sophomore. He made the key saves, and he's a field general. He is like a lot like John Marcus of Lynbrook. Yep. He's a field general, good passes. He finds the right man.
He's got the cat-like reflexes, he's got the passing ability, and he's good out of the cage.
And the beauty is he's going to be back for another year.
Well, they won't have too many of these other guys back, Farmingdale. This is a senior-dominated team. Lakey's the only junior that plays on the attack. On the first 2 midfields, you'll have Townsend back. But as we mentioned, a senior-dominated team. Rivera, now the 1-man back at 6-on-5 now. And again, Schmuddy, who's been shut out. Stopped, Tufano, off to Carney. 38 seconds to go, and the Dalers will celebrate. Won't be a huge celebration, I think. They're a little bit restrained. Walrap chasing it to the far side. Got it across, but we'll have a stoppage here.
I think, speaking as a coach, I look at a game like this. This is going to shake Farmingdale up just a little bit, make them a little less confident going into the Ward Melville game.
May not be Ward Melville, Coach.
I'm sorry.
Well, Garden City, everybody was saying into the Garden City game. Everybody figured Garden City perhaps would extend their streak against Lynbrook.
I thought Lynbrook could win, Coach.
That's right, after they played that well against you guys. Bob Rule, the assistant coach of Manhasset. Here's Baxo with 20 seconds to go, and this one just about history. They're down a man, DeRupo in the box. Now Baxo gets in, fires it wide. Ime picks up the loose ball, rifles it wide. And with 11 seconds to go, team's now all even. So congratulations to Bobby Hartenraff, as this team will go 18-0. Now, last year they went 21-2, but lost to Lakeland. 11-8 carry. And this one will wrap it up as Brian Ime gets his second goal of the game. And with 8 seconds left, it makes it a 6-2 game. But you look at the score and say 6-2, but this was a lot closer game, 3-2 heading into the fourth quarter.
Oh, absolutely. I think Port Washington did an outstanding job playing this very, very tough Farmingdale team, holding them to 6 goals, well below their season's average.
And even though Farmingdale dominated faceoff, they never exploded. They never got that real fast break transition goal. That's part of their game that they're so capable of.
Well, I think defensively, Port could not have done much better. I mean, compared to their scoring average, and unfortunately, offensively, I don't think they were aggressive enough that second half.
Yeah, the man-up inability to score in that second half when they had those advantages. And that is it. The Farmingdale Dalers, county champs, once again. Championship number 6 for Bobby Hartenraff, and win number 365. As the Dalers defeat the Vikings 6-2. Let's go down to the field, and here is Carl Reuter.
Congratulations to Bob Hartenraff. But Bob, you kind of gave me that look like, you know, we're lucky to get the heck out of here with a win.
Absolutely, I'm disgusted.
Despite the championship, you are disgusted.
Give Port credit. They played a great game. They sloughed. The goalie came up with a big game, and no, we're not happy, Carl. I mean, we're supposed to be the #1 team in the state, and we certainly didn't play that way.
What saved you right now? Your man-down defense towards the middle of the third quarter and all the fourth quarter. Port couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, man-down's been great all year. They've been 86%. You know, good team defense, basically. We've built the program on defense, and they've come through all year. And offensively, we couldn't do it tonight, and the defense kept us where we should be, so that's why we won.
Were you looking perhaps, or were the guys looking perhaps ahead to next week, Long Island Championship, and maybe Ward Melville?
I don't know, Carl. I don't have the answer to why we played the way we played. We played mindless lacrosse tonight for 35 minutes, and we better get it real quick straightened out, because if we don't, next Tuesday, Ward Melville will do us in real good if it's them.
So what you're saying is, for Farmingdale, a tough week of practice ahead.
You can bet your life on that.
Well, Bob, I know it wasn't a good one, but still, congratulations on repeating as Nassau County champs.
Okay, Carl, thanks a lot.
All right, we'll see you next week in the Long Island Championship. Bob Hartenraff walks off. Farmingdale takes this one by the count of 6-2 in the Nassau County Class A final. When we come back to Hofstra Stadium, Barry, Bob, and Carrie wrap it all up, so stay tuned.
A commitment to intellect, a commitment to you. In the true tradition of liberal learning, Adelphi provides a new era of education and self-exploration.
There's a lot of big school atmosphere, but at the same time, it's very personalized. The classes are small, and the professors know who you are.
For more information, write to the Office of Admissions, Adelphi University, Garden City, New York, 11530. Experience the commitment. Experience Adelphi University.
It gave me a chance to find something that I'm really good at.
It feels good to know what I want to do in life. I'm doing this for myself to make my future better.
The more you know, the more successful you can be.
I'm getting practical experience in what I'll be studying in college.
It's giving me a chance to start my own business and be my own boss.
We're all here for the same reason, to succeed.
BOCES Tech Centers, giving Long Island students more choices.
If you could be the executive producer, would you choose this event or this event. With the Olympics Triplecast, you'll get 24-hour coverage for 15 days on 3 cable channels. So now for the '92 Barcelona Olympics, you can choose your event. Call today. The Olympics Triplecast, a whole new way to see the games.
Port Washington, a gallant and game effort, but Farmingdale emerges with a 6-2 victory to win the Nassau County Class A championship. Barry Landers back with Kerry Gluck and Bob Rule. Not a very happy camper there, Bob Hartenraft. That's to be expected, but he had to be happy with his man-down defense. I think that was a key to this game.
Well, I think the key to the game, as you said, was the man-down defense. But for Washington, they had 7 chances to score a man up, didn't convert on 1 time. Also, the play of John DeShone in goal for Washington was absolutely outstanding and kept the game close.
All right, Kerry Gluck, if you look at Port Washington, Kenny Case's club did it, except offensively. They really were stymied in that late in the 3rd quarter and the 4th quarter when they had those man-ups, but very good effort nevertheless.
I think their defense did an outstanding job. You've got to give a credit to a defense that holds a Farmingdale team to only 6 goals. On the other hand, Bobby Hartranft, his team was not, they didn't play with intensity. They were flat. They didn't come out like they really wanted this game, and I think that was part of the difference. They just were not into the intensity.
Well, next week, I'm sure Bobby Hartranft's club, with a week off for practice, will come up a fired-up club against whomever Suffolk County puts out as their champion. Once again, our final score tonight, Farmingdale 6 and Port Washington 2. Now, Cablevision's coverage continues with the Long Island Lacrosse Championships, the New York State semifinals, and the New York State finals. The Long Island Sports Network, bringing home winning moments for the past 10 years. Today's game has been brought to you by Adelphi University, a commitment to intellect, by Ullman Sports International, the ultimate lacrosse supplier, and by the Bosse's Tech Centers, the power to succeed. For Kerry Gluck, Bob Rule, Carl Reuter, Larry Roth, Rich Martinetti, Gary Rothschild, and all our crew, this is Barry Landers saying so long, everybody.
Latest on a troubled Yankee, Bob.
And that troubled Yankee is, for plea is, according to a court spokesperson, usually used by defendants who don't remember the circumstances of their arrest or feel that the government has enough evidence to convict them but want to contest the charge. U.S. Judge Leif Erikson wants to review the pre-sentencing report on how before making a final decision on the plea bargain arrangement. The sentencing date of August 18th has been set pending the judge's decision. Baseball's reaction was swift in suspending Howe indefinitely for violation of the league's substance abuse policy. It is his 7th suspension from baseball, and there will be a hearing for Howe with Fay Vincent as soon as one can be arranged. Howe has the option of filing a grievance with the Players Association, under which he may continue to play until after a hearing. The Chicago Bulls now hold a 2-1 advantage over the Portland
boys that we needed to get the win.
We've got to give Chicago credit. They just played a great game. I think we missed some shots. We had some opportunities. Didn't capitalize on them. As a result, we lost the game.
94-84, rather easy victory for the Bulls. Now, St. John's basketball is a new assistant coach today. George Felton, formerly the head coach at South Carolina, announced that Coach Bob Gainey will take over the role of GM, replacing Bobby Clark. College baseball, the Miami Hurricanes announced that Brad Kelly is their new head coach. He replaces Ron Fraser, who retired after 30 years at the helm. The Mets are in Montreal this evening for the start of a 3-game set. Anthony Young takes the mound opposed by Ken Hill. And the Yankees host the Jays for 3 games at the stadium beginning tonight. Greg Cataray gets the call for New York and Todd Stottlemyre for Toronto. It's a battle of titans tomorrow night at Hofstra Stadium. The Long Island High School Class A Lacrosse Championship pits the #1 team in the state, Farmingdale, against the #2 team, Ward Melville. Both teams are undefeated. Carl Reuter has a preview.
It's going to be a terrific game. I think I'd pay to get in to see it myself if I wasn't coaching.
But Hartenraft will be coaching, and he's hoping his Farmingdale team can duplicate last year's 8-7 Long Island Class A title win over Ward Melville.
Last year's history, we got to go after it tomorrow and achieve our goal, and they got to go after it the same way. I'm sure their goal was to win the states, and you got the best 2 teams in the state hooking up.
It all boils down to execution. You know, which team executes better, which team
hits the ground balls, which team plays better defense, and of course that intangible fact of which team wants it most.
One area in which both coaches agree could be a key factor in this game are the face-offs. Both Farmingdale and Ward Melville have excellent men at that position.
Our two face-off kids, Sanders and Roth, have won probably 70% of the face-offs. I know Brian Baxo is an excellent face-off guy, so we're going to have to hopefully win at least 50% of them. If we do, we'll be very happy.
I think you're seeing two of the best face-off guys on the island, and certainly maybe the top two middies on Long Island, and maybe the top two middies in high school lacrosse going against each other.
Both coaches have long anticipated this rematch.
Joe has been scouting us more than I've ever seen him before. So I guess he's got a pretty good handle on what we do.
We've scouted them about half as many times as they scouted us. I estimate they've seen us about 8 times, and we've seen, I saw him 3 times, and then one time we scrimmaged him. So I'm sure they know us a lot better than we know them.
The bottom line, they know each other equally as well, and it'll be a low-scoring, exciting defensive battle for the Long Island Class A Championship. Carl Reuter, News 12, Long Island.
Game time at Hofstra tomorrow night is 8 p.m., and the Lynbrook Harbor Fields B Championship is at 5 p.m. It's unfortunate that two highly talented
What do you mean now? Higher. Higher? Yeah, higher. Yeah. The microphone? Me and the cattle was mine.
The spirited press conference was highlighted by a pie fight. The Pink Panther event coincided with a special tribute given Edwards, who spent his time in Cannes with wife Julie Andrews mixing business with retrospective. There are other ways to get attention. Sometimes it just falls right out of the sky. At any given moment in Cannes, you can find publicity on the move, as in the case of these Troma film characters. Another unique way to receive publicity is for being advertised in a film you're not even in. World champion kickboxer Dennis Alexio got lots of Cannes press for this ad announcing his new film, even though he turned down the role a month ago.
I find out, you know, right prior to me coming here that I'm plastered all over this one-page ad in Variety and all these other magazines as, you know, who I am, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, starring in Kickboxing Terminator. And I've never heard of that film.
The public feud about the Kickboxing Terminator detracted from his own film going into production called Fighting Chance. So Alexio was on the publicity trail to raise awareness, and Cannes was the place to be.
For foreign, you know, distribution and stuff of that nature, I think it's essential. Right now, you know, we're working on getting the rest of the cash for Fighting Chance, which is a first-class film that I'm going to be starring in. And just with the exposure, you know, I've had, you know, on television and cable and my fights all over the world, as well as starring in Kickboxer, I've been real busy here with, you know, a lot of publicity and stuff of that nature. And it's just, the more you're out in the people's eye and stuff like that, then, you know, people recognize you, and it's a big plus.
If all else fails, there is one foolproof way to get lots of publicity here in Cannes.
Yeah?
This happens dozens of times during the festival, although no one seems to ever know the name of the starlet or why everyone rushes to take her picture. By far the most traditional way to get noticed is to get your film shown at the festival. That's what happened with Reservoir Dogs, a gritty tale of a robbery gone bad. Director Quentin Tarantino's first film was one of the festival's most talked about films, even though it wasn't shown in official competition. For Tarantino, it was a dream come true.
I've been wanting to come to Cannes since I heard that there was a Cannes Film Festival, and I've been reading about it, vicariously, on shows like this, seeing it on shows like this, and reading about it in the newspaper and all the reports and whatever, and I just imagine what it must be like, and one, just to be here, Cannes totally doesn't disappoint. It's exactly what you always thought it might be, except it's just like actually happening to you. The second thing is, to be here with a movie that you're proud of it's pretty interesting. It's pretty special. I'm just kind of like, whose life is this?
Everyone just fell in love with him, and that was it. And he could do no wrong in our eyes, and I'd fight with him on certain issues, and he's the only. I think the only director I've ever worked with who's turned around to me after a big argument about something, when we've got the time is going, blah, 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 and said, no, you're right, and then we shoot it, he's like that. I mean, that's completely unusual for a first-timer. When I knew him, he hadn't even been to New York, and now he's in Cannes and he's doing deals, and people are being nice to him.
Tarantino credits actor Harvey Keitel for getting the film made. For Keitel, the decision to co-produce and star in the film was an easy one.
I felt the writing was extraordinary, and it was a careful study about issues that are important to me to deal with in my living. The need to trust someone, the consequences of betrayal, the role instinct plays in our lives, and the script, Quentin's structure, the way he wrote it, sort of unbalanced my center a bit.
In structuring his film, Tarantino broke what he calls the Star Trek rule.
The Star Trek theory is basically, whenever you watch Star Trek and they're having a landing party, and it's Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and Ensign Lebkowitz, you take a guess which one's not going to come back to the plane, which one's not going to come back to the Enterprise. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make them all, important, because in reality, reality doesn't work in supporting players and extras. Reality works with everybody. He's part of everybody. These guys are a team.
As for what the title of Reservoir Dogs means, don't look for answers here.
I'm always surprised by everybody's ingenuity when they come to tell me what they think it means. All right, and the moment I say, this is what I was thinking, and then boom, that stops, and it becomes official, and that is that, and everyone will feel like a fool, all right, for contradicting me. But the thing about it is, when somebody comes to me and they tell me something, they're right. If that's what they think it means, that is what it means, all right? What I think doesn't even matter anymore.
For some celebrities, doing Cannes doesn't necessarily mean setting foot in town. When we come back, we'll muscle our way into one of the most secluded spots in the Mediterranean.
E puts the entertainment back into Saturday night television. Every Saturday night at 8, E! Entertainment Television takes you inside and up close with special behind-the-scenes events on the E! Saturday Special. Saturday, June 6th, catch exclusive interviews with funny man Jerry Seinfeld.
I'm pretty good on a first date.
Richard Lewis and Craig T. Nelson on E's TV Comedy Night. Watch the E! Saturday Special this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on E! Entertainment Television.
This portion of E! Entertainment Television is brought to you in part by New Condition by Clairol 3-in-1 Shampoo Plus. We take extra care of your hair.
New 3-in-1 Shampoo Plus is today. Makes plain old shampoos look passe. 3-in-1 means extra care. Extra care you'll feel in your hair. Got pop-up-free sunscreen, know what I mean? Extra care.
Get clean, condition, protected hair. New 3-in-1 Extra Care.
There's never been a terrorist attack on American soil, Jack. These men are professionals. Personal revenge rarely plays into it. But I killed his brother.
From the producer of The Hunt for Red October.
Ryan's still alive!
Based on the best-selling novel.
I don't care what you have to do. You just get it.
Where's Sean Miller? Harrison Ford. Patriot Games. Rated R. The games begin June 5th at theaters everywhere.
A word or two from Schweppes.
In this world of rapidly declining standards, it's reassuring to know that there still exists Schweppes Raspberry Ginger Ale. With its distinctively refreshing taste and gloriously pink Schweppeffervescence, it provides the perfect accompaniment to a lifestyle devoted to absolute, unyielding quality.
Raspberry Ginger Ale from Schweppes, the world's only source of Schweppeffervescence.
There's only one place to get the big burger more people prefer. We're the one.
We're the one, we carry the name. We're the one, we cook on a flame. Our Whopper is number one. You're the one.
The one and only Whopper at Burger King. Fixed fresh, served hot, just the way you like
For
it.
the best burger on a bun. We are the one. You'll win right away at Burger King now.
We're the one.
Hi, I'm Michael Kastner. Welcome back to E on the Riviera. Right now I'm standing in front of the legendary and oh-so-exclusive Hotel du Cap in Cap d'Antibes, France, located about 30 minutes away from the craziness of Cannes. You might remember last year, Madonna stayed here. Remember we were standing out in front of the gates? Well, this year's roster includes Tom Cruise, his wife Nicole Kidman, Robert De Niro, and the muscles from Brussels, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Hotel du Cap is the answer to avoiding the hustle and bustle of Cannes, yet Van Damme did everything but relax. The human publicity machine kept up the pace without leaving the hotel grounds. You have just signed a 3-picture deal. Is it important to announce those type of things in Cannes?
That's the excuse for them. I mean, they flew me, and I stay in Hotel du Cap, so they have to talk about something. So I signed a deal with Columbia. Yeah. For I like 3-picture deal because they're going to build me so well. They invest. I mean, if you have a relationship with a studio, they're going to build your image, more publicity, and this and that.
How do you think Americans are perceived in throughout the world? Do you think what people see of Americans is fact or fantasy in the product that truly?
They know you're the best. You have you're very professional. Even TV, I mean, I just did like few countries. The way you're handling show business, it's very nicely done. And they know that. And to me, movies, they ask me, I was with a French TV, what is your feeling about French film, why they don't buy? I say, guys, movies, they have no frontiers. The best one win. And if we're buying in Europe American product, it's because they're selling well and because they are made, they're made well. So and that's the bottom line,
The press may have come to Van Damme, but Van Damme went to his fans. To maintain a good relationship with his audience, the kickboxing king made his way into town for photos and handshakes at the Carlton Hotel. He even had a minor run-in with his Universal Soldier co-star, Dolph Lundgren. You got into kind of a situation with Dolph.
Yeah.
Your co-star, Universal Soldier, on the steps.
Right.
You can tell us, because he's not around. Did you pop in a couple of real ones here and there?
No.
Just get a little
I don't want to kill him.
Competition is tough in the movie business.
No, he's a great guy. He did such a good job. He was the best villain ever.
Do you like the paparazzi and the fans and everything? Because the fans have been going
I love
crazy.
fans. Paparazzi, it's a different issue, but they have to make money. They have to make a living. So when I go somewhere, I'm not trying to do this in a restaurant. It's very dangerous. They say you get some problems.
Having food in your mouth.
Right, you have to be careful what you're doing.
Van Damme's Universal Soldier co-star Dolph Lundgren managed to make it to most of the big Cannes parties. While he doesn't mind trudging along the publicity trail, Lundgren does get a bit tired of it.
For me, it's thrilling, but it's sometimes it's tough because there's so many people and so many cameras and journalists, so it gets to you after a while.
This party was held at one of the many chateaux on the French Riviera to promote Strictly Ballroom, one of the festival's biggest success stories.
That's looking good.
This Australian film tells the story of a highly competitive and very funny world of ballroom dancing.
When I got to France, there were some early screenings, and I thought, well, the French read this. Because, you know, the thing about Strictly Ballroom is it's not about ballroom dancing. It is this very simple biblical myth that's set in this bizarre dance world that's a microcosm of the world at large. Now, the thing about that is that like Shakespeare, and I'm not necessarily saying that the dialogue is Shakespearean, but like Shakespeare, it can work on a very simple level. You can read it on the level of the story-driven piece itself, or you can read the metaphorical symbols in it. You know, I mean, you know, it really is about the triumph of the human spirit over repression. You know, it's David and Goliath. You know.
The film came to Cannes unknown, but managed to charm and sell the world with its offbeat look at the passion of dancing.
You know what I said about the rumba being, you know, the dance of love?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah?
it's pretend. You just pretend to be in love. It's not real.
Oh, no. Because I didn't...
Are you all right?
You better go. I'll see you tomorrow.
All I can say is I'm fulfilled in terms of doing this job and doing it well, and there's a great deal of pain in actually struggle in making this film, because you go to someone and say you want to make a film about ballroom dancing, and you know, they laugh in your face very enthusiastically. They even spit at you, you know. But it's very nice to come back here after 2 years of trying to get the money here and see people sheepishly sort of in the background going, "Hi, remember me? I kicked you out of the Carlton," you know.
They celebrated the film's success in decidedly un-ballroom-like fashion. And since this is Cannes, if there weren't many celebrities to cover, the media did the next best thing. They covered each other.
There's much more to selling in Cannes than just throwing a great party. When we come back, celebrities hit the south of France to sell their ideas.
The whole world is watching, but what do they see? In the first ever E! News documentary, Ron Reagan takes you abroad to investigate the insatiable global appetite for American entertainment.
Y caminar color. ¿Cómo se llama?
The whole world is watching, reported by Ron Reagan. There's a reason entertainment is one of our biggest exports, and reporter Ron Reagan gets the real picture on why. The E! News documentary, premiering Sunday, June 7th at 9 p.m. The whole world is watching. Will you be?
Sprint wanted me to do a big hoopla-type commercial to launch their new savings program, The Most. I said, guys, you don't need that. The Most is the first and only program that automatically saves you 20% on whoever you call the most each month with no restrictions. And it saves you another 20% every time you call one of the millions of other Sprint customers. So The Most doesn't need hoopla. I don't do hoopla anyway.
Salon style reinvented. Now from Helene Curtis, Salon Selective's new moisturizing styling products and bodifying styling products.
Choose